seeker. I just want to make sure the entire world has an opportunity to hear this. Probably won't get it on the nightly news. And actually, before we go any further, can I check my audio levels? Can you guys let me know the live stream? I'll be coming through clearly. I'm going to play a little news clip. I'm going to play a song from the 90s. This is so appropriate for this day and age that probably most people have never heard before. But it's from two very famous musicians who've surely heard their music on the radio, but you've just never heard this song. Let me see. I don't see any interaction in the chat, so hopefully we are live. Open up says, Mike. Audio is crazy. Audio is jacked. That is not good. This is not good. Alright, test. Let me know if that sounds better. Unless that sounds setting super wrong. Mic issues. Audio messed up. Okay, not good. It took a long time for the comments to come through. Feedback and static on that. I wonder why. Shouldn't be. I changed another setting. My mic sounds crazy still. Super static still. Crazy. Alright. Hold on. I'm going to reset the system, you guys. And I'm going to restart the stream. How's disappointing? Here, testing. Testing. One more try. I'm going to try a few more things to make sure it's not me. I swear this is exactly how this sounds last time I went this way. Okay, one more test. Did that fix the sound? It sounds like I've got the brain chip. Crazy. Better? It's perfect now? It's perfect now. Okay. If it's perfect now, we'll just proceed ahead and I'll edit this video when we're done with the stream. I'll just chop off the first. Oh, wow. We're already over 3 minutes into it. Yeah, not good. I might just re-upload the video when I'll like download it when I can, when it allows me to save it. Usually wait till like 15, 20 minutes until the stream's over to save it. And once you can save it, you can re-upload it. So, okay, we're good. All right, that's what I wanted because I wanted to play some news clips and I wanted to play a song from the 90s. It just, again, you guys might not like this song, but I want you to listen from the beginning to the end because I'm going to make a valuable point about the recording industry and what's going on in the world and how big the game is. So, okay. I guess the good news is while we haven't been able to get the sound right, you've been able to stare at this visual. If you need help making out this visual, you just had bridges shut down all over the nation yesterday, April 15th, tax day. And it was Paul Pelosi, the husband of Nancy Pelosi. It was his 84th birthday. Bridges shut down all over. The big headline, the Golden Gate Bridge, the most famous bridge in America, where Nancy, she's been in Congress for a long time there in the Bay Area, San Francisco. So the Golden Gate Bridge is stopped on Paul Pelosi's 84th birthday. And it was just a couple weeks back. It was Nancy Pelosi's birthday. And Nancy, she governs out in San Francisco, but she's from Baltimore. Her dad was once the 41st mayor of Baltimore. Longtime Maryland politician was her father. But notice it was on Nancy's 84th birthday that the Key Bridge came down. And to add to this, she turned 84. Her husband turned 84. Her father died at age 84. And notice what day her father was born. This is Nancy Pelosi's father right here, Thomas Ludwig John De Alessandro Jr., the father of Nancy Pelosi. He was born August 1st. Remember what August 1st is? That's Francis Scott Key's birthday. It was the Francis Scott Key Bridge that collapsed on the birthday anniversary of Francis Scott Key. And again, they said a Singaporean ship, the Dolly, took down the Key Bridge. Nancy Pelosi shook hands with the leader of Singapore on August 1st, 2022. Would have been the 119th birthday anniversary for her father as well. But again, she shook hands with the leader of Singapore, only for the Key Bridge to come down on her birthday. Again, plus everything else that we've talked about with this. But now the ritual with her husband and the Golden Gate Bridge. And of course, right out of the gate, we talked about the connection with Nancy being in the Bay Area. Remember when they first put out the images of the Key Bridge collapsed? It's a white bridge, but the images that all the media was sharing were in the middle of the night with the red police sirens lighting up the white bridge so it looked red. And we're like, I mean, you can even see the symbolism of it. Like this, if you look quickly with just the red lights all over, it looks like a red bridge. It reminds you of the Golden Gate. And again, you learn the Gematria piece. Golden Gate Bridge in Gematria equals 135. The bridge came down 135 days after the leader of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa. And Joe Biden referenced his infrastructure bill, which has Gematria 135. And again, if you're new here, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coining numbers into words, you learn this code, you'll never see things the same way again. There's a reason they said that bridge came down, the Key Bridge, at 1:28 a.m. In Gematria, bridge collapse equals 128. Fern Hollow equals 128. Remember when the Fern Hollow Bridge came down on 128, January 28th, while Joe Biden was in Pittsburgh to talk infrastructure? Then this bridge comes down, the Key Bridge, 128 days before August 1st, Francis Scott Key's birthday anniversary. They had Amy Klobuchar on all day to talk about the bridge collapse in Minnesota on August 1st on Francis Scott Key's birthday. And it was Amy Klobuchar's 307th day of being 63 years old when 307 is the 63rd prime and Francis Scott Key died at 63. I make the point to understand how tight these rituals are. This collapse in Baltimore was on the 128th day of Joe Biden's age, and Nancy and Joe are symbolic of dying infrastructure, way past their prime, in places they shouldn't be, seemingly having a lot of slip-ups in the media. But yeah, these are major league jokes. And, back when these people were a lot younger, but still in office, long before these rituals came to play out that we're now witnessing, I want you to think about, again, a cabal. Again, like we're always talking about, we're on the Jesuit calendar. We're speaking the Jesuit English language. Again, all these people in D.C., overwhelmingly Jesuit backgrounds, Jesuit educations. Let's not forget the first Jesuit university in the nation's Georgetown, right there in D.C. But anyhow, in light of these parallels, I want to play this song from the recording industry. And as you listen to it, I don't really care what your opinion of the song is. I just want you to listen to the lyrical content, and I want you to pay attention to how the song ends. There's a reason I picked out this song out of the thousands of songs I could have chosen from. But I want you to listen to this whole song, the beginning audio clips of politicians from MLK to Reagan, and then the actual song component, and then how the song ends. And again, we're going to bring it all together here in a minute. But yes, I do want to play this song, and I do want you to listen and not complain about how much you don't like this genre of music. I also want you to realize that you've probably never, ever heard this song before in your life, but you've heard songs from these people because these people are mega famous. One of them is the cousin of Snoop Dogg, who also has a successful rap career. And the other one is Everlast, who also went by the name Whitey Ford, who had a rapping career with House of Pain. and also a singing career as Everlast. But they put this song out in the 90s, and again, it wasn't the big radio banger, but I want you to listen to what is in the song, and then again, how it ends, and we're going to come back to this point about the larger picture with this ritual going down with this prominent Catholic family and these major landmarks coast to coast. And again, what founders of this country are warning about, the infiltration of the Illuminati. What happens if the Jesuits come out of suppression? Again, the Illuminati was formed while the Jesuits were suppressed, and it was formed by the Jesuit priest Adam Weishaupt. Their birthday's May 1st. Again, remember, the big headline when the Key Bridge came down was May Day, and May Day in Gematria equals 36, and the bridge came down 36 days before May Day. But anyway, we're going to really listen to this song. I'm serious. Try to hear every word said in this song. Some are going to be a lot more important than others. And if you listen all the way through, you're going to be like, okay, I get why Zach picked out this song and the point he's trying to make. So with that said, we're going to play the song. We're going to come back and talk more about it. The claps, the music, this secret society that's been here since the beginning, that's making a mockery of humanity. And then we're going to watch the news for more mockery and what people consider the information they need to be taking in while ignoring voices in the world such as yours truly, who's been putting out a true message for a long time, more than a decade, showing about this game that's being played with us by this federal government that really needs to go, that's super dangerous, that's super evil. So in light of the idea of the government being super corrupt, let me play the song of the hour. And understand, this song came out in the middle of the 90s, but think about it in light of today. And it has a little bit of a build-up because you're listening to the clips from history. You're going to hear Reagan, MLK, and so many more. Listen. Okay, hold on. You guys said you can't hear it, huh? I got to start it over. Sorry, I got distracted with the email. By the way, just since I was just distracted just now, sorry about the pause. About a month back, I did a giveaway, and we sent out mics and hoodies and books, and I think that was the extent of the items. I just got an email from somebody saying that their hoodie never showed up. If you guys were part of that contest and were supposed to get something in the mail and it didn't show up, please email me at GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com. Because I will resolve that. So I know almost everybody's stuff made it there, but I just saw an email. Shout out to Greg. Yeah, Greg. I'll go to the post office and see what's up, and if it's one of these lost in the mail things, which does happen, I will order you. For him, it's a hoodie. I'll get him a hoodie off my website. So yeah, Greg, check out a hoodie on my website and then get back to me. And if anybody else out there didn't get what they were supposed to, please reach out to me at GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com. Hopefully that's the only case. Anyway, let me tweak the audio setting here again. Sorry for all the audio trouble. Oh man, I got a new audio setup recently that I use sometimes because it has a higher quality sound, but it's also got a million more things just to have right. One more time.
Priority 1.
Maced me as soon as I stopped.
Oh, he's just not fighting me.
I didn't fight anybody, man. I didn't hit anyone.
Stand up.
Well, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms comes to disarm you, and they are bearing arms. Resist them with arms. Go for a headshot. They're going to be wearing bulletproof vests.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Concerning nonviolence, it is criminal to teach a man not to defend himself when he is the constant victim of brutal attacks.
In all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice.
President Bush is asking the nation to employ what he calls weapons of the spirit.
Government's corrupt, police force corrupt, education's corrupt, all fucked up. Government's corrupt,
everlasting, corrupt,
police force corrupt, education's corrupt, it's all fucked up.
Step 2 faces, turning and trapped in the middle of the front line where the action's at. Head straight to the stove. It's like hanging on the edge, on a ledge. I play my part, piece to the puzzle. He's with the muzzle. A YG always in trouble. Cause of what he know, cause of what he knew, how he grew up and what he grew up to, and what he gon' grow up to be. Nothing wrong, but hope he don't grow up to be like me. Temptation to touch, a terrible thing. It's placing in your palm unbearable things. The street has many wars, infantries, many ways, lives lost, many K's, full size and many K's. Coming in so many arrays, many shapes, sizes, and shades. The boys in blue, they just might get you.
Government's corrupt, police force corrupt, education's corrupt, it's all fucked up. Government's corrupt, police force corrupt, education's corrupt, it's all fucked up. Now Bobby and Susie were unhappily wed, so Bobby shot Susie in the back of the head. Bobby got taken to the county jail. He put up his house and he walked on bail. Now Bobby's on the streets, he's free as the breeze. He saved up his loot for his legal fees. He spent his whole bankroll on attorneys who got the case dropped on technicalities. Government's corrupt, police force corrupt, education's corrupt, it's all fucked up. Government's corrupt, police force corrupt, education's corrupt, it's all fucked up.
Yeah, through the good and bad times, times bad and goodness, and all the things that we used to have in the hood. Things making me happy, used to make me sad. That feels like the war of the world, buying hands, spread head to head like legions and germs. Rap like perms, shells make them wiggle like worms. We everlasting, corrupt and everlast, lashing, ever ready, sound spreading like rashes. Life is complicated, corrupt, everlasting, superfly made it, portrayed it, posting, stay shaded. They may lurk, but we lurk too. They create the wars that we fight for. There's only one life and only one way to be. God-fearing love to the GOD, cause I can see everything's corrupted. I'm corrupted, TV corrupted, the public. Niggas yelling out, fuck it.
Government's corrupt, police force corrupt,
Yeah,
education's corrupt, it's all fucked up. Government's corrupt, police force corrupt, education's corrupt, it's all fucked up.
every day, a nigga go outside, see some fucked up shit. You need to come take a trip over here, see a gang of fucked up shit. Yeah, we need help too. Everywhere I look, I see problems, unsolved mysteries. Come take a look over here. We need help too. I can't help but notice most of y'all niggas is worse than bitches. Y'all need help too. Yeah, corrupt and everlast. Superfly, super nostra, grand rectifying. California. Yeah.
Is there a heaven? Is it above or below us? One ponders his mortality through clarity. Death, disease, famine, dissolution, contention. We have all been made. Fuck the world.
Okay, so that's how that song is. You got the introduction with the historic clips. You got the song about how the whole system's corrupt. And of course, this is on the rapper Corrupt's album. He spelled his name with a K. Intentional misspelling. But for people to know, Corrupt is the cousin of Snoop Dogg. And of course, Snoop Dogg is super famous, and almost everyone knows who Snoop Dogg is now based on his TV fame and advertising fame and just being everywhere fame. Martha Stewart's best friend fame. His cousin Corrupt, most people don't know who Corrupt is unless they listen to rap music. And I've recognized since I was a child that Corrupt's a superior rapper to Snoop Dogg. But you consider Snoop Dogg's the one with the Murder Was the Case music video where he's selling his soul to Satan. And, it's like that Fall of the House of Usher show they put out earlier this year. At the same time, they announced Usher for the Super Bowl as they have him performing confessions on the Vatican's birthday at the Super Bowl. But anyhow, in that song, Corrupt says that, it's the end of the world and he's having these feelings. Like, if you go back and listen, essentially it communicates the idea of the way he's feeling about this destruction and demise of the world, like, in a way he's cheering for it. But he also expresses that, like, that's not how he wants to be feeling, but that's how he is feeling. And, again, that's a common feeling in a lot of people. How many people just want to see the world end because they're just so sick of all the bullshit and they're tired of everyone being sound asleep? So, he's communicating an idea that a lot of people can identify with. And, of course, he's a rapper that's also been heard by a lot of people. Now, so and it's like the war of the worlds, it's raining fire. He's rapping about that. That's like Revelation, the end of the Bible. I'm going to get to a point about why it matters, what's on that song, and the day this album came out in history. If you know Gematria, these numbers are standing out to you about the day this album came out. But again, at the end, you get something that you got in a lot of 90s rap music. You get that voice that kind of sounds evil. And in some songs and records, they make it way more evil, but kind of like that evil, demonic sounding voice. And you hear it at the end, it says, "Fuck the world." And again, that's a part of a really popular hip hop chorus. "Fuck the world, don't ask me for shit. Everything you want, you got to work hard for it." The Wu-Tang Clan. And, Corrupt, he goes down as a West Coast rapper, but he's really an East Coast guy. If I'm not mistaken, he's from Philadelphia. But yes, he is the cousin of Snoop Dogg, who's a million times more famous, but it's not because of talent. Again, Snoop, for half of his songs in his career, had to make up words to make it rhyme. His cousin, his cousin, most of his music isn't positive and uplifting. It's like gangbanging and all the other stereotypical shit. But you can just tell it who's better at rhyming, the guy who has to make up words to make it rhyme, or the guy who can put together ideas and tell a story over some verses. Anyway. And even Snoop Dogg can do that too, as long as he's allowed to make up words, which is not true of the genre anymore. Raps for a lot of these commercial rappers just become like rhyming words and no logical explanation or, there's no logical thought or idea. It's like, what is this song about? Just putting words together that sound nice over the hypnotic beat? It's sad. But this song right here, Corruption, look at the date it came out, 10/6/98. And what's funny is the spelling of the album, Corruption, the way they spelled it, it equals 98 like the word prophet. 98 like prophet. And prophecy has the gematria of 106, like black is 106. Like what they did yesterday with Clarence Thomas on the 106th day of the year. The black Supreme Court Justice man not showing up for work. No explanation. Went to Yale, where the Prince Hall Lodge is number 106, right there at the Yale campus. Whole lot of black history with 106. Obama's book, which plays on prophecy, A Promised Land, came out 106 days after his birthday. But here, the rap industry, where it's known that the rappers wear Jesus pieces Again, Tupac, mega famous, dies. They put out his last album with him on the cross like Jesus. On Guy Fawkes Day, remember the 5th of November. But the big hit song, Hail Mary, couldn't be any more Catholic. Anyhow, you think about this. You think about what's in that song. Part of me wonders, I'm like, did Corrupt and Everlast even write those songs? They might very well have, but I don't know. But just to also have that theme at the end, just the evil voice with I guess that's the way the cabal works, right? They'll give you something and it can be 80% truth, but then that other 20% of what you consume is kind of poison. So like that, if you looked at that song that we just listened to as a story, and the conclusion that the average listener is going to walk away from is things are really fucked up and fuck the world. I mean, that's not the right endpoint, right? It's like you got the song about how bad things are, the government, the legal system, the police. If the song has a different ending about like a Bob Marley, now get up, stand up, and let's end it. But that's not how it ends, right? It ends with fuck the world. And I think at the end of the day, that's even how most people in the truth community are, if you will. They want information, they want to know what's going on, but at the same time, they don't really want to do anything about it. They're just like filling up their ego like, yeah, see, okay, more information that confirms I'm right. This world is fucked. But at the end of the day, the attitude is fuck the world. That's why there's not a whole lot of effort from anybody in the world to change the way the world is and do something about it. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, I always just make the point that there's so many songs like this in the world that you've never heard before. And again, just imagine if the radio was full of songs like this. How much different would the common person's mind be if they were listening to songs like this all day? Not that this is the greatest song, but it's a song that's, talking about things that are wrong in the world. I mean, you listen, the Everlast part of the song's really easy to follow. About the crooked court system. Just the way they use the courts in us through the media, from OJ to what's going on now with Trump. OJ Simpson and Donald Trump, guys that have been in especially rap lyrics since the 90s. It's hard to think of a rapper that doesn't have at least one rhyme about Trump. Prince sang about Black Donald Trump. Died the year of the election of Trump. Remember, it was the year of the 58th Grammys. Prince's girlfriend Vanity died the day of the 58th Grammys. Purple Rain equals 58 in Gematria. Then Prince dies 2 months later, synced up with the election, the 58th election, where Trump announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower. When back in the day, Oprah asked him if he'd want to be president someday. Oprah's got that 58 connection. But yeah, 1984, right? 1984, the number 84. This big ritual with the bridges on Paul Pelosi's 84th birthday, Nancy Pelosi's 84th birthday, Nancy Pelosi's father dying at 84 and having the same birthday as Francis Scott Key. The significance of 84 and how all of these stories intertwine. I actually forgot I got to edit this and write one more word in there that should be on that list before I even read it out loud. Yeah, the other point I meant to make about that song, too, is just the predictive programming. Just the kind of stuff that they're putting out there. Again, we know a lot of the world of entertainment's controlled. Does a guy like Corrupt or Everlast, do they write a song and then does the record company come back and say, hey, get this idea in there. We want this in there, too. Take this out. We want this in. I'm sure that happens a lot. It's like the War of the Worlds. Go back and listen to that part. What do you say? I mean, Amazon put out that movie in 2020 about Lockdown 2025 with fire in the sky raining down on LA and World War breaking out and all these racial divisions coming out of society. It's like, see, that's what they're trying to create in the world. That's what needs to be stopped dead in its tracks. These people need to be exposed. But yeah, if you missed the video from earlier, that this part has to be understood. Okay. Yesterday on Paul Pelosi's birthday, the Golden Gate Bridge was shut down for a pro-Palestine protest. Now go back to what we were talking about in 2018 and 2019 with stories like this. Palestinians were mad that the Golden Gate was closed off at Temple Mount in Israel, okay? And Temple Mount has that gematria of 154. Now you get this Palestinian bridge shutting down the Golden Gate on 15-4. Remember, they were mad that the Golden Gate got shut down. Now they're shutting the Golden Gate down. See how this is a monumental joke? And then at the end of the day, it's like, well, obviously it's not the Palestinians who are in control of this ritual. This ritual is literally perfectly synced with, American politicians. And this is going back to... Here's what's sick, you guys. This is how sick it is, how planned out all this is, and how controlled this system is. It's obvious the Illuminati, which was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, hijacked this nation a long time ago. Because look at this. From the death of Paul Pelosi's father in 87, let's not forget the Pope is 87 right now, and the meaning of that number, 87. We saw what they just did to Francis Ford Coppola's wife at age 87, dead 117 days after the Pope's birthday when The Godfather's 117, after the movie turned 52 years old when Pope's 52, 52-week calendar for the Pope. But he died in 87, meaning this year is the 37th anniversary of his death. And Congress equals 37. He was a member of Congress. Obviously, his daughter Nancy's been a fixture in Congress. Look at this, you guys. You see how Nancy Pelosi equals 52? She was the 52nd Speaker of House. You see how Nancy Pelosi's 133 and 52? Look at government. She was born for this. These families have been, they're in this network. So this father, his future if his offspring was secure, that she was going to be the next puppet politician for this cabal. Exactly what Nancy's been. But government, 133, 52 like Nancy Pelosi. Notice Nancy Pelosi the other way. If you're new here, these ciphers are simple. They're just the alphabetic order forwards and backwards numerology. But Nancy Pelosi, 56, like Washington, D.C. Her birthday's 26/3, like 263 is the 56 prime. That bridge that came down on her birthday had 56 meters of clearance. On and on and on. We're talking about these same numbers all the time back to the beginning of the nation when it started with the 56 signers on the Declaration. But yeah, the 84 list, I still didn't hit it. The 84 list, why 84 matters so much. All of these things equal 84 in Gematria. Here, I'll just type them out so you can see. These are the 4 base ciphers, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards numerology. Jesuit, for example, is 84. Zionism, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, is 84. This ties in with what's going on in Israel, the Zionist nation. Masonry is 84. Masonry is known as Judaism for the Gentile because it's based in the Old Testament. Modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. United States of America, founded by Masons and plenty of Jesuits here at the same time. Again, the first recognized president in history goes down as George Washington, even though that doesn't have to be the case. But that was the same year Georgetown, the Jesuit university, was established in D.C. United States of America, 84. Superior General, 84. That's the leader of the Jesuits. The last one died at age 84 in a big ritual. The founder of the Jesuits, the first Superior General, Ignatius Loyola, died 84 days from his own birthday. Pope Francis, born on 84 date numerology. Anthony Fauci, Jesuit, who was the head of NIH starting in 84. Took us through the very Jesuit pandemic. But this 84 is huge. So, again, United States of America is 84. The Catholic Church is 84. The Jesuit Order is 84. Again, Jesuit alone, 84. Zionism, Masonry. Big boss number we've talked about for years, and now these mega rituals on their 84th birthdays. And again, the Superior General who has the 84 connection. From his birthday, November 12th, to the day the bridge came down on Pelosi's birthday, that was 135 days later. Golden Gate Bridge is 135. Biden's infrastructure bill, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It's 135. He referenced it right after the bridge came down. We made these connections right the day it happened in Baltimore through Nancy Pelosi and understanding the numbers and the meaning. And remember, Central Intelligence Agency has that 135, also that 117. And notice how the word bridge is 117. And the worst bridge collapse in history was November 7th in the Tacoma Narrows. And RFK Jr. announced his VP running mate the day of Nancy Pelosi's bridge collapse, and she's from the Tacoma Narrows area. And the mayor, or the governor, of Maryland is from Tacoma Park, and he's 45 years old. And he took office 433 days before the bridge came down, and 433 is the 84th prime. And if you want to go back and check, 433 days after Castro shook hands with the Pope, he died. And Castro was Jesuit educated. And then 433 days after Castro died, his son died. Again, that's the 84th prime number. And the mayor of Baltimore, his birthday is the 8th day of the 4th month, April 8th, the day of the eclipse. And on and on and on. The Salvador Dali painting. Salvador Dali died at age 84. And again, Nancy Pelosi's father, dead at 84. Francis Scott Key's birthday. I mean, just unbelievable. So yeah, now let's compare like this information that we put out on TV. Let's compare it with the nightly news. So we're going to watch the CBS coverage of their story of the bridge and the collapse. And if the volume's a little bit low, I'm sorry I have it at the max setting. It's the downside of this news. I'm not super happy with this new software I got. That's why I haven't been using it a lot. And I just want to give it another spin today to see if things will go better. And I did a worse job because I made some mistakes in the beginning, but again, I just always see the feedback that the volume's low when I play clips. So let me know how this volume is. Understand I have it at the max setting. I cannot turn it up unless on the YouTube thing I can go. No, it's at the max setting. So yeah, we're all the way maxed out on the system, on the YouTube video. Let's watch this news clip and just see how they play us as they play the news. Like ask yourself, where's the investigative journalism? Like how can there not be a journalist in all of the television world in the last decade that's found our work interesting enough to bring up? I've seen some YouTubers get taken on all kinds of news networks and share their findings. Surely, one news network must think it's interesting enough that these bridge rituals, so obviously connected to Pelosi and now her husband, I mean, are unfolding on their 84th birthdays. Anyway, let's watch the news and see how, again, our friends and family who never look into anything, this is the kind of information they're taking in. Let's see why they are where they are. Here we go.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the protests shutting down freeways and bridges across the Bay Area for much of the day today, leading to more than 24 arrests. Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Cook. Demonstrators calling for a ceasefire in Gaza shut down the Golden Gate Bridge and Interstate 880 in the East Bay, starting right as that morning commute was just getting underway. The traffic was backed up for miles. Now, this was a pretty sophisticated operation. Some protesters on the bridge chaining themselves to cars, and in the East Bay, they even brought out barrels full of concrete to stop anyone from getting by. Within the last 2 hours, the CHP told us those protesters could face conspiracy charges due to the coordination. Wilson Walker begins our team coverage at the Golden Gate Bridge tonight. Wilson?
Liz, you know, we saw this just late last year over on the Bay Bridge. We've seen it again now. So clearly we're involved in a little a contest of cat and mouse between the protesters and law enforcement. If you were trying to cross the bridge here or drive up 880 today, you are simply caught in the middle.
I'm sympathetic, and I understand the cause. I do. And I just wish I'd have left 20 minutes earlier. I'd have missed all of this.
Just short of the bridge in a sea of cars going nowhere, one driver trying to reach family on the other side.
I'm going to try to get through. My daughter needs me. She got 4 little ones there, and I'm supposed to be helping take care of them while she's working.
Yeah, I work over the bridge, so, you know, not many other options. Think about the ferry.
The hours dragged on. People started walking their dogs and striking out for supplies.
Yes, it's an Uber, and he's lovely. Our poor Uber driver.
And amongst the crowd, a constant chatter about the protest that had stuck them all there. Some were sympathetic.
Like, yes, it's an inconvenience, but it's also an inconvenient to be a human being in Gaza right now.
Stop arming Israel, which I think we should stop arming Israel, so I'm in support of that.
There was also plenty of frustration.
Well, my thing is civil liberties should be protected, but there is a limit. And when you have this level of a disruption to our whole transportation system, I think we need to draw a line.
Attempting to block or shut down a freeway or a state highway to protest is unlawful. It's dangerous.
The Highway Patrol says it thought something was coming, but they did not know any specific plans. The deterrent, they say, should be aggressive prosecution, thus the extensive charges.
And 236 of the Penal Code, false imprisonment.
But protest organizers were very clear that this action was not the last. Here is a spokesperson talking about what comes next.
We're going to keep pushing until people pay attention. We know from our history that people's actions work, and they won't listen to us unless we hit them where it hurts, which is in the economic region. And so we're going to keep pushing, and we're going to keep disrupting.
If you were watching this morning, or if you were stuck in it, you might have had a question about jurisdiction here on the Golden Gate Bridge. Who sort of follows up on the charges for the folks who were taken off this bridge? Well, we learned that this afternoon. Highway Patrol has referred this to the San Francisco District Attorney's Office, so no federal question here. The other cases over on 880, of course, will go to the Alameda District Attorney's Office. But if you remember from the November case, we just saw all of those protesters in court in San Francisco with a bit of protest surrounding that. And the District Attorney kind of cut a deal with those protesters. They essentially got a pass on the charges if they do some community service and stay out of trouble. So you can imagine someone somewhere is checking the names from today against that list to see if they have perhaps violated some agreement, if it's the same name that pops up. But you also have to wonder if there's some sort of escalation in the charges that are filed here. You know, the District Attorney's Office tried to send a message with that case. Highway Patrol seemingly trying to send some signals today that they're not going to tolerate this. Do the charges get more intense? Does the prosecution become more vigorous? Maybe a question as we go ahead, Liz, here. You know, we've seen this a couple times. We hear some strong words. Does anything more come out of it this time?
Yeah, and the impact, the massive impact that it had on commuters today, no question will play a role in that. Obviously. All right, Wilson, thank you so much. All right, continuing our team coverage on this is Itai Hod. He is live in Oakland, where all lanes of 880 are back open again after being shut down earlier today by demonstrators as well. Itai?
Good evening. Yes, I'm on 7th Street. Right behind me is the on-ramp to 880 South. Just before 7 a.m. this morning, about 300 protesters blocked this on-ramp, essentially creating a massive traffic jam. Basically, this was all part of a day of action called A15, as in April 15th, a coordinated demonstration across the country and internationally. The goal here was to put pressure on governments to financially divest from the state of Israel and bring attention to the ongoing war in Gaza. Drivers who were caught up in this traffic jam essentially waited for as much as 5 hours before CHP was finally able to clear some of those protesters. We spoke to the protesters and some of those drivers to see what they had to say. Take a listen.
We specifically chose this day because of the significance around it. We will always, as just a regular citizen who's not okay, we will always find other ways to speak up against how our tax dollars are being used. A pause in people's day is not as significant as not being able to find food.
Basically, this is not fair for, a lot of people. They go to work, they're trying to, make some money, and look what happened. This is just, to be honest, ridiculous.
All lanes were eventually reopened at around midday. We'll bring you more from some of those frustrated drivers who were caught up in the mayhem tonight at 6. In the meantime, back to you in the studio.
Itai, thank you so much. Now, we did see police leading away some of the protesters in the East Bay, but we're still waiting for an exact number from the CHP. Now, as Itai mentioned, today's protests were part of a global day of action. Here's the scene in New York City, where several hundred protesters shut down the Brooklyn Bridge earlier today. And in Chicago, protesters blocked access to O'Hare International Airport, calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Now, this isn't the first time protesters have shut down Bay Area bridges to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. Dozens of people were arrested on the Bay Bridge back in November, while President Biden was in town for the APEC conference. And just last month, protesters showed up in force at SFO. They shut down the international terminal and used vehicles to block the entrance.
Recordings just got better.
Okay, so again, no real investigative journalism. The explanation is just the protesters were really well coordinated. But then, of course, the other big part of the story is the authorities then came and backed up the protesters and used their vehicles to further shut down the roads. And there could have been a decision made by government to clear the people because they're blocking, major interstates. And again, you heard the one woman say that the day's symbolic, of course, because it is tax day. But then understanding gematria, you see the greater ritual and why they keep pairing the Golden Gate in San Francisco with rituals in Israel, which we've now been talking about for over 5 years with hard evidence. And again, Nancy Pelosi, somebody who's been in Congress for so long, supporting these agendas that are coming to, a climax at a very specific time, which we've also been calling out for a very long time. Here, I got to pull up this article right here. New York Times, October 6, 1940, New World Order pledged. I'm just going to write that. It should pull it up. Here it is right here. So, again, October 6, 1940. 10-6, right? Familiar date, right? Prophecy date. Yeah, like I said, prophecy, 106. New World Order pledged to Jews. You remember how corrupt is the cousin of Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg got super famous in the 90s with Dr. Dre, and they put out that Dre Day music video, and part of that music video is showing the greedy Jew record manager, and Dre puts the red dot on his head. That's all part of the music video. It wouldn't fly anymore. Jonathan Greenblatt would be breaking Dr. Dre chronic records for the ACLU. But again, I'm saying there's a reason that all these dates and rituals keep lining up, and a song's put out like the one with Corrupt and Everlast. It's like, feels like it's speaking to this moment in history more now than ever, almost 30 years later. But yeah, this headline, New World Order Pledge to Jews. The date it came out 10-6, 1940. The date numerology is 10 plus 6 plus 19 plus 40 is 75. Israel is 75 years old right now in gematria. Again, notice, New World Order, alphabetic order numerology. When I was new to this work, this was the cipher that we did the majority of our work in. These other numbers do matter. New World Order is also 177 and 69, like the Jesuit order. 174, like what happened with this war in Israel beginning on the 174th death anniversary of Edgar Allan Poe in Baltimore, as Mike Tomlin picked up his 174th career win over the Ravens, named after Edgar Allan Poe, the very next day, the day Israel declared war. Like the fall of the House of Usher being announced at the same time, connected to Poe in Baltimore. Tomorrow is 17/4. Barbara Bush, the wife of George H.W. Bush. She died on that history on 17/4. Tomorrow's her death anniversary. Her husband, who gave the speech about a new world order, 11 years to the day of 9/11. When the master plan went down, and 11's the master number, and New York's the 11th state, the World Trade Centers look like an 11, and Flight AA-11 hit the, everything that went down on 9/11. But anyway, Barbara Bush, she died on 17/4. So just going back to this, New World Order pledged to Jews. Arthur Greenwood, who had the message, ended up dying in his 75th year of life. But again, Israel's 75 right now, like the Superior General. And remember, Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, and the Jesuit fingerprints are all over this nation's creation, Israel's creation, and so much more. The Jesuits, we're on their calendar, we're speaking their language, we're living in their worlds. They serve the Catholic Church and the Pope. But 75-87 for Ignatius of Loyola. Again, the Pope right now is 87, the first Jesuit Pope, Francis, and the Superior General, the leader of the Jesuits, is 75 right now. Special times, special numbers. Nancy Pelosi's father died in 87. What they just did with the Rothschild banker at 87 sync with the Pope's 87th birthday. What they just did with Francis Ford Coppola's wife at age 87, paying tribute to the Godfather, gangsterism, being ruled over by gangsters. There's a clear string between the Vatican, the mob, Catholicism, the Jesuits. Back to the beginning of this nation's history, what founders were warning about as the Illuminati was being founded, and George Washington's penning letters. They're in the National Archive about his concerns about the Illuminati. Founded May 1st, 1776. Again, they call it May Day. It's associated with communism. May Day. Remember, May Day and Bridge. Check it out. May Day. Or Snap. Hold on. Oh, I know what it was. I know what it was. This is what it was. The headline was May Day, but the point we were making is it was from the governor, the one from Tacoma Park, Wes Moore, who's 45 right now, and the May Day headline was 36 days before May Day. And this year, later this year, November 7th, 117, it'll be the 84th anniversary of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapse, November 7th this year, 2024. The Golden State Warriors, they've had a lot of 117 rituals this year. They have the Bay Bridge on their uniform. Golden State Warriors is 117, like Steph Curry's 117. And again, his dad played up in Toronto where Steph Curry lost in the finals too, and he met his wife there. And this year, see how Toronto's 36 forwards and backwards like bridge? Funny enough. Remember, this year on Steph Curry's 36th birthday, RJ Barrett's brother was announced dead. But anyway, Toronto, Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors, all year they've been doing 117 rituals with this team. Again, the Bay Bridge gets locked down the day before this play-in game for the Warriors versus the Kings, all focused in the Bay Area. Today is, you remember how their assistant coach died at age 46? Sacrifice 46. Genesis 46. Sacrifice. He died 90 days before today. You see that? 90 days before today on January 17th. Now Golden State plays in the play-in with the Bay Bridge on their uniform. And here, I want to go back to here's what we were pointing out the day that, I want to go back to this right here. The day that the Baltimore Bridge collapsed, there was a lot of bridge stuff going on in the NBA. And Warriors were in Miami. Remember, Miami recently had the building collapse on Freemasonry's birthday, but before that, they had the FIU bridge collapse during March Madness. And the Warriors came into that game with 36 wins. The team with the bridge on their uniform came in on 36 wins. They got the 37th win, and we were leaning towards that way that night because Joe Biden, who's 37, like Congress is 37, urged Congress to spend all this money to rebuild the bridge. And we were saying, doesn't it make sense that this is kind of like a liberal Democrat thing? And then San Francisco, Golden Gate, Nancy Pelosi, longtime Catholic in office like Biden. And not even realizing at the time that her father had died 37 years before 2024. But anyway, you had the Warriors coming in on 36 against the Heat. And I got to go back and look. It was something wild they were doing with the Bucks and Lakers and Kareem, who had this thing about building bridges a couple years back. And the Lakers won with 128 that night. Remember, the bridge collapsed at 128 that day. Bridge collapse equals 128. It collapsed in Baltimore 128 days before Francis Scott Key's birthday anniversary, August 1st. And on the 128th day of Joe Biden's age. And Fern Hollow, again, is 128 as well. And that collapsed on January 28th, the day Biden was in Pittsburgh to talk infrastructure. And Pittsburgh's Pennsylvania. And the 76ers originally from Pennsylvania. They used to be the Philadelphia team, which is on the interstate with Baltimore. I-95 connects them. Baltimore equals 95. MLK would be 95 right now. He had a dream, MLK. The Broken Bridge and the Dream. 128 is the name of the Salvador Dali painting that was brought up by the media in connection to the bridge collapse. And again, Salvador Dali died at 84. But yeah, again, you learn the gematria. It's just undeniable what's going on here. Like if you would look at this and go, well, God, is that a coincidence that happened on Pelosi's birthday and she's from Baltimore? Key Bridge comes down. And then on her husband's birthday, they shut down the Golden Gate with the protest. Is that a coincidence? Again, you guys, you learn this gematria code and you realize this stuff is not a coincidence. This is a game that's being played with us. And the reason the game is working is because the populace is standing down to the Nancy Pelosi's and Joe Biden's of the world. And just think about the symbolism of that. Think about the flex that is from the cabal and the Illuminati. By the way, I want to send a be careful to Martin Lawrence today. I've just talked about this pattern too many times. And I've been saying this for years. You know, like someday Martin Lawrence is going to be 59 years old. And today's that day that he's 59. R.I.P. to OJ, who just died 59 days after the Super Bowl, was announced dead on the 59 date numerology as they were teeing off at the Masters, paying tribute to Ephesians 6, 5 through 9. Again, you guys, if you're new here, Slave, 59 forward, 76 in reverse. Motown came out in 59. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. The federal government recognized Black History Month in 76. Renegade equals 59. That's Obama's Secret Service name. Barack Obama equals 76. Obama also equals 14. I forget if Obama has the 31 connection. It does. Obama's 14 and 31 like slave as well. And Obama's got, or it's, hold on. What is wrong? Hold on. I'm tripping about something. Barack Obama's got the 76 and 32 like Negro and 68 like MLK, killed in 68 on 4-4, and let Obama be a number 44, elected 44 years after the Civil Rights Act. But, nah, there's something that I'm letting slip through the cracks right now. Anyway, OJ, dead at 76, and he's from San Francisco, right? And he died on the 101st day of the year, and Route 101 does go through the Golden Gate. San Francisco, 76. Last year, Tony Bennett died on the 202nd day of the year. His big hit song, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. You see how San Francisco's 122 and it's on the 122nd meridian? Check out the full name of Nancy Pelosi's father in Gematria. 122. Like San Francisco, like Pope Francis, number that connects with St. Francis of Assisi, 320 like Roman Catholic Church. Again, I don't mean to overwhelm with the numbers, but these numbers are important. And again, you see how San Francisco is 122 and 50. So is Satanic. The Church of Satan was founded in San Francisco. God, I just thought about something. The church turns 58 this year. Like Donald Trump's so attached to 58, and he runs on Mega. Mega's the highest degree of the Church of Satan. It's interesting. Yeah, if you've never seen my work on Anton LaVey's death and how it has the Jesuit fingerprints all over it, it's undeniable. It's all 201. But, and again, San Francisco is named after the man who created the Franciscans, which is the precursor to the Jesuits. That's why Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, is named in tribute to him. And yeah, I'm sure his name's also in tribute to Francis Xavier, the second most important Jesuit in their history. Some people argue even though Francis Xavier didn't found the order, he is the most important member. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't alive, but Ignatius and Francis Xavier, they go down as the big old names. So connected. Joe Burrow, he's in the Billy Cannon ritual. Billy Cannon dies on Cannonball Day to the Jesuits, and then Joe Burrow's doing big rituals in Xavier-controlled Cincinnati for the Super Bowl, playing all 4 of Billy Cannon's teams in the playoffs. This year, the Chiefs beat the Niners again. Last time they beat them in the 2019 season. This time they go back-to-back for the first time in 19 years in the NFL, doing it while Montana's 67, the 19th prime, when he wore 19 with the Chiefs, and the game went to overtime 19-19, and McCole Hardman caught his 19th career touchdown to win the Super Bowl. Again, scripts, you guys, people born for it. I'm just trying to emphasize the point about scripted sports, scripted politics. Learn this code, understand the number games being played with us. Just like how back in 2017, we called the Super Bowl dead on, as we've done so many years, through what Donald Trump did in the world September 23rd. Again, took on the protesters of the flag when the flag was sewn in Philly at 239 Arch Street, and Trump has the same birthday as the flag, and he took the White House while the flag was 239 years old. And Kaepernick, the first man to protest the flag out in San Francisco on the 239th day of the year. The Bay Area in Philly not far from Baltimore, but the Warriors and the A's, the Athletics from Philly. A lot of coaches went from Philly to San Francisco. Right when the 76ers moved, then you had a championship between the new Philadelphia team and the Warriors. I mean, just like how the Blazers, where I'm from, Portland, the only championship they won was in the 76-77 season over the 76ers. I wasn't even here yet. I was born in the 80s. I was born just before 84 and 83. Anthony Fauci, when I was 1 year old, was getting set in. Jesuit scumbag getting set in at the NIH. Just wait till 36 years from now when 2020 comes around. You'll see. Be the richest old know-it-all motherfucker there ever was. Just don't ask me how many masks to put on today, because it's blowing in the wind, the answer. Okay, but yeah, if you got here late, again, we just talked about, again, the significance of these bridge rituals on the Pelosi's birthdays. Their 84th. We talked about some other things where the Palestinian protest of the Golden Gate in Jerusalem fits in with this one on the day it occurred. Again, this has been an ongoing thing in Israel for a long time. The Palestinians protesting the closure of the Golden Gate. Now, the Palestinian protest shuts down the Golden Gate on 15/4, Paul Pelosi's birthday. But 15-4 when Temple Mount's 154. Okay, yeah. We listened to the song Corruption from the album Corruption, the self-titled song from the album by the rapper Corrupt, who again is the cousin of Snoop Dogg and who did this song with Everlast, who you know probably from House of Pain and the song Jump Around, but a song that almost nobody's ever heard that in a lot of ways describes better than ever this moment we're living at right now in 2024, and then it ends with like this wicked satanic voice telling everybody fuck the world. And again, as long as that's people's attitude, the world's going to stay fucked and corrupted. And like how it is right now, a really sick game that just really needs to end. And I know it's Everlast is 54 right now. You just never know. Be careful. 54 wasn't good for R. Kelly or Diddy, as we know, both getting prosecuted by the same Jesuit prosecutor from Georgetown founded by 54-year-old John Carroll when Jesuit orders 54. And again, you can make no mistake about it because R. Kelly, again, he got sentenced to prison on the day in history the Jesuits are recognized by Rome, September 27th. Same day that Jesuit-educated Johnny Cochran said, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." The big line that freed OJ in the made-for-TV divisive theater. Again, that's what they give us all day, every day. Divisive theater. Pick a side. Which side do you want to hate? Which religion are you more identified with? Which race are you more identified with? Which storyline are you most identified with? What gender do you most identify with? Are you non-gender? Are you any of the new 8 groups of gender we just created in the last month for you? Again, this is the way the game is played, and this is what people need to wake up to so we can break the programming. Yeah, I'm mad right now that last April I was down in San Francisco teaching about what happened to Bob Lee, and I'm feeling like I should be right there right now. But here's the point I got to make about Martin Lawrence. I didn't finish. So the Tigers became 10-7 today and got to 4-4 at home on the kill date, right? Here, I got to go to ESPN. I'm glad this is the outcome because this is what we were leaning towards today for this to happen. But I realized after the fact that today is Martin Lawrence's birthday. And this is concerning. Today is the kill date, you guys. If you're new here, one more thing to teach about, the kill date. This was a headline this morning. You might have seen it. The actor from Trainspotting, dead at 64, announced today. They said he died April 14th, but the news broke today. Again, what makes the kill date the kill date? It's because the date numerology today adds up to 64, 44, and 28. You get that by adding 4 plus 16 plus 20 plus 24 for April 16th, 2024. That adds up to 64. Another way is to take the life lesson path, which is 4 plus 16, which is 20, and then you add the year digit by digit. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4, which is 8 more. That's 28. And then there's the abbreviated path, which is just 4 plus 16 plus 24, for April 16th, 24, which is 44. So there's one day every month where the numerology is like this. And month after month, we see at least one of these numbers in the death of the person from the world of entertainment. And again, I've been documenting this every month since Dick Gregory died. So count that. Every month since Dick Gregory died, we've been documenting at least one story like this. And this time it's 64-year-old actor Vincent Frail from, again, Trainspotting. And that movie did come out on the 201st day of 1996. Huge Jesuit number. 2 big Jesuit numbers that come together are 201 and 144. And he died on 14/4, the anniversary of Lincoln being shot, the Titanic going down, when Lincoln blamed the Civil War on the Jesuits. Remember, Confederate equals 201. Lincoln shot on 14/4 by a Confederate sympathist. James Madison, the only 201 president. The Jesuit suppression ended 144 days after his birthday. Trump lost his ex-wife and buried her on the 201st day of the year, and the election upcoming is 144 days after his birthday. Again, it's the 60th election, and she died 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year. So on and so forth. But month after month, this same type of stuff. So it's the kill date today, right? And it's Martin Lawrence's birthday. And the thing is, Detroit has that gematria 44, right? Detroit's 44. You see how Rangers is also 44? And you see how Rangers is 107? The Tigers today became 10-7 and 4-4 at home. You see that? 10-7 versus the Rangers and 4-4 at home. And where Rangers is 44, so is Detroit. And yesterday, the Rangers became 9-8 versus Detroit. Again, you learn these ciphers, you see how the number rituals align. But yeah, you can see the Rangers, or excuse me, that's what it was. The Rangers fell to 4-4, and the Tigers became 10-7 overall. Now, the thing about these numbers on the kill date, and Martin Lawrence turning 59 today, ritual sacrifice is 107. We see this number a lot in suspicious death, but 44 also shows up a lot in death. Kill is 44. Execution's 44. Again, MLK killed on 4-4. Malcolm X killed on 44 date numerology. His assassin was Thomas Hagen, whose name equals 44, and he got 44 years in prison. Thomas Hagen supposedly shot Malcolm X. Thomas Hagen 107 and 44 like shooting. And then they said Thomas Hagen even had 4 children while he was in prison. So he was still procreating while Malcolm X is in the ground, at least so we know according to his storybook. But yeah, Martin turns 59 today, and that number's been fateful for a lot of black men. Motown found 59 the other year. The current head of Motown just dropped dead at age 59. And again, in light of Motown coming out in 59, and Martin was... But let's not forget, the name Martin equals 42. He lived in apartment 42 in Detroit on the 42nd parallel, 42 and 59, how those numbers come together. Slavery equals 42. Slave equals 59. Orenthal, OJ's name, Orenthal, 42. Dead 59 days from the Super Bowl, the first ever Super Bowl on the 42nd day of the year, the Vatican's birthday, where the Chiefs became 4-2, representing Missouri, which also has the 42 connection. Remember when they jumped off the Michael Brown thing? Right next to the Jesuit stronghold of St. Louis, where they got one of their universities, and they put the 201 all over it. Michael Brown 201. They put the 42 all over it because Ferguson's 42 and Missouri's 42. And then they put out the image of the killer cop with the blonde hair and the blue eyes to remind of the Nazis, and he had a 42 Blues shirt on. Blues is 59, like slave, like Negro, like Rasta. But again, Darren Wilson Blues shirt. Whoops. What? Police officer. Here, this is the first image they put out of him because they didn't name him for a minute. And then when they put it, I remember covering this like it was nothing in 2014. And we're like, can you guys believe this? We were talking about the code, and then, just here. Darren Wilson, number 42 in the blue shirt. Again, all throughout history, these same numbers, you guys. Slavery, 42. Tuskegee. Remember, 201 men in the control group in the Tuskegee experiment. Jackie, 42. What they did to Chadwick Boseman. Then changed his age. Huxtable. That's Cosby Show. That's their last name. Cosby Show, 42. Muhammad Ali. That's a 201 and 42. LeBron James, they've been using him like a civil rights leader in a lot of these stories, Michael Brown and whatnot, hoodie movement. But again, one physical description of Jesus in the Bible, and that's that with hair like wool, darker skin. And the New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus, New Testament 42. New Testament 66 in reverse. Math, 4266. The New Testament begins with Matthew and the 42 generations to Jesus. In Revelation, it says the one who can calculate can figure out what's going on, And here we are. We've been calculating. We've been figuring out what's been going on. And sadly, most people, I don't know, under some kind of hypnosis to be thinking that Nancy Pelosi's telling you the truth. These people on TV are telling you the truth. These people have been lying to your face nonstop for decades and getting away with it. And it's been obvious. But it's just crazy to watch this happen after all these years. Again, I've been following this trail since I was 18 years old, back after 9/11 in 2001, to just watch how. And I've been saying this whole time, like, you can't tell me this isn't all rigged, and these people aren't just put in office and just on voting day they put up whatever numbers they're going to put up on the screen to tell you whoever won. I mean, who really wants Nancy Pelosi? How bad is it that we have to choose between a TV game show contestant, The Apprentice, and a man he's either really losing his mind or he's playing up the part if he's losing his mind. Because I really do feel like that's part of the programming, too, to always make it seem like these government officials are dumb and aloof. They did that with George W. Bush. doing that with Biden like his mind's gone. A lot of these politicians play really coy and dumb. I remember last November when it was time to vote, the clip that they were showing through the whole voting scene was like a standoff between two politicians. They almost got into a physical altercation. And it's just like, see, that's all it is really right now. It's like, come on, how much can we provoke you? Go fight with the other side. Go get in a physical fight over R&D and red and blue. It's like those parties sold you out so long ago, you're just stuck on the rhetoric. You're stuck on the soap opera. You can't see that this is all empty rhetoric and these people got to go. Yeah, here, exactly. I just looked out the chat. Kamala, exactly. I mean, Kamala didn't ever seem so dumb. She gets in the White House. Now the story is like she's just like lost her mind. She's not how to talk. She's not how to lead. She doesn't know how to make a point. Remember when she was so sharp and she defeated Biden in the first Democratic debate way back when? There's that big moment. Kamala upstaged him the debate over busing. It was the whole takeaway from the first 20 candidates for the Democratic thing. It was just between Kamala and Biden, the cute little debate with the nice ending. And the next thing you know, Joe's picking Kamala on the 59th date numerology for the 59th presidential election as she does the one-term senator to Oval Office like Barack Renegade Obama. And again, just coming back to that 59 code, Renegade 59. Barack Obama, 76. Slave, 5976. His book, A Promised Land, 59 and 76. Ephesians 6, 5 through 9. Slaves, obey your masters. Master, 76, like slave. OJ dead at 76 as the Masters tees off when he died 59 days after the Super Bowl. The last thing he put out was social media the day of the Super Bowl wearing a Titleist hat, talking about how he wants to get back to golfing. Titleist 114, they announced him dead on the 11th day, 4th month. Titleist 102, they announced him dead on the 102nd day of the year. Slavery 102. Black History Month recognized by the feds in 76 on 10/2, the 10th of February. I mean, just think about it. OJ, dead the day before the 101st day. Now, Route 101, the Golden Gate Bridge, locked down. Thank you, 33 always. You know what? Because you posted that, shout out to Gematria32 wherever he is. I gotta play this video real quick, you guys. Gematria32, I appreciated putting this one up. It's fun. Isn't it funny how the algorithm works? Look at that. We play the Corrupt and Everlast song, and then boom, right away in the feed, we got an Everlast music video. The song you probably heard of him is where he's the singer. I'm sure everybody's heard of House of Pain, Jump Around, but Everlast, his song still gets radio play. What It's Like. And out of all the pop songs in the 90s that got radio play, you know, that song had an important message in my opinion. But I got to play this one right here, Gematria32. Here we go.
Right here in New York City, a young American doctor back from Africa raced to a New York hospital, and tonight it is confirmed, a new case of Ebola. This was the image late today, that ambulance rushing the physician from the aid group Doctors Without Borders to the hospital for testing. Dr. Craig Spencer recently returned from West Africa, alerting authorities to his stomach problems and his fever. And late today, first responders...
Good morning, fellow truth seekers. Welcome back. Today...
Okay, so he's got archived videos. I just want to play this video because this is from 2014. This is in the early days of the research. And this was just at the height of the Ebola scare. And just laying out the pattern of 33 and where Ebola fit in with AIDS being a big scare 33 years earlier. And remember, years later, we eventually got Corona, which is another word with Gematria 33. But this is 2014. Check this out.
Today is the 1-year anniversary of my written blog and my research, essentially. I started before that, but I didn't start writing anything until exactly a year ago today. Interestingly enough, a year ago today, October 24th, 2013, the numerology for that day was 47. When I started the blog, which you can go to, I'll link in the comments, if you look at my first post, I don't talk about gematria or numerology at all. I do talk about the ongoing significance of 33 in world events, however. And the other thing I talk a lot about is fiction, where events are written about before they transpire. And in my research, that goes back to Futility, Wreck of the Titan, written about the largest ship ever built, named the Titan, that crashes on an iceberg in April while traveling between the UK and United States. That occurred exactly 14 years, or that book was released 14 years before the sinking of the Titanic. There's more books like this throughout in history. Another really good example, though, more recently is called The Final Jihad. It was written by the brother of the governor of Oklahoma, who was governor during the time of the Timothy McVeigh Oklahoma City building bombing. If you read this book, The Final Jihad, it's about a character named Tom McVeigh, very similar to Tim McVeigh, who does blow up the Oklahoma City building. Also in that book, events happen that are similar to the TWA airplane crash out of New York City, and also planes flying to the World Trade Center buildings at the end of the book. And this book was written before any of these events took place by the brother of the governor where the actual bombing happened. In recent weeks, it's made the headlines that this book called Absolute Zero, published in 1997, that's 17 years earlier, it should be noted that the word Ebola sums to 17 in Gematria, is about a patient zero in Dallas, Texas, that brings Ebola to the nation. And I think that's just one of many more examples of where I started with this research. So anyhow, since I've started it, I've also learned about this gematria and numerology and how important it is in the ongoing conspiracy. It ties right in with this fiction being released well in advance. So yesterday's numerology is also 47, 10, 23, 14. This is exactly 365 days after I started the blog. And if you read my first post, you guys can all go back and look at it. What I talked about is there's this building narrative for a major epidemic in the Northeast, from the Northeast all the way down to the Carolinas and Georgia. And what I theorize, and what I've thought for quite a while, honestly, is that eventually there will be a horrible epidemic on the East Coast because that's where the majority of the nation's population is. If you look at population density in this country, the East Coast is packed, as we all know. The middle of the country, sparse. And a lot of the West Coast is just wide open outside of the cities. So it seems like naturally they're going to need people to move further west because there's just so much space. And in that initial blog post, I theorized that someday they're going to bring something really awful to the East Coast, and I think it's sooner than later because of the Georgia Guidestones. I talked a lot about the Georgia Guidestones in that first post. Just recently, in September, they were updated, and it's all fitting the pattern of what I've been writing about. And what I've been writing about with the Georgia Guidestones is that they are located on the 34th parallel north. They're currently in their 34th year anniversary. 34 is the 9th Fibonacci number. Fibonacci numbers are the numbers of life. And the first rule on the Georgia Guidestones is maintain the Earth's population at 500 million. Well, if these are more than a hoax and these rules that were written in these stones are sincere, then that means 13 out of 14 people living, if the world's population truly is 7 billion, would have to die to get to 500 million. 13 out of 14 people. And in my research, I've shown that this has been done before. It's been done before in this very own country. Variola, also known as smallpox, destroyed the Indian population that was once here. In Gematria, the words variola and Indian both sum to 33, a very significant number, and it's through and through in this Ebola story. Yesterday, with the numerology of 47, we heard that this doctor right here, Craig Spencer, 33 years old, has tested positive for Ebola. He got it while working with Doctors Without Borders in Western Africa, supposedly. But let's go back in time. Okay, so this Ebola story, it got big in the United States July 22nd, 722, another very important number. 22 divided by 7 creates the number that is pi. Pi has to do with circles. Think about circles and cycles. This Ebola story is following AIDS by 33 years. The AIDS story was 1981. 33 years later is 2014. AIDS is 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 19 in Gematria. AIDS sums to 33. The doctor who discovered AIDS was 33 years old. His name was Michael. In Gematria, Michael also sums to 33. There's more of this, but now let's fast forward to earlier this year, 33 years after the AIDS awareness. In Conakry, Guinea, Conakry has a Gematria of Guinea. A 33-year-old doctor contracted Ebola. It is said that he was brought back to Atlanta. Atlanta's on the 33rd parallel north. ATL, the common abbreviation, is 1 plus 20 plus 12 sums to 33. And that July 22nd is when this all went down. It is said that he was treated with the experimental Ebola drug ZMapp. It's spelled that way, capital ZM, lowercase APP. Z plus M is 26 plus 13. That sums to 39. The acronym for HIV also sums to 39. In this study of numerology and gematria, 33 and 39 are often paired together, especially in New York. I'll get into that at the end. So he got this drug, ZM39, and then APP is 1 plus 16 plus 16. So this drug is almost like a 39-33 coded into it. Since that, an NBC cameraman has contracted Ebola. He was also 33 years old. Just 2 days earlier, they said he's Ebola-free. The drug worked on him also. The gematria of the word cameraman also happens to be 33. It should be noted that the number 33 ties in with 311 and 113. The words mainstream and the word green screen both sum to 113. 11 times 3 is 33. I don't think any of this stuff's an accident. And then yesterday, again, 33-year-old doctor is said to have had Ebola. This morning, the details. When they give us these details, you guys have to think about why they're really giving us this information. They said he went on a 3-mile run through New York City while he was contagious. They said he went bowling. Essentially, just imagine running through New York City, going out to the bowling alley. Think of all the people that could have potentially contracted Ebola, right? Just based on these details. And then if you read about Ebola, it says it takes up to 3 weeks before it shows symptoms. So you know what they're doing? They're just building the narrative for the massive viral outbreak. I expect at some point, one day the news is just going to come on and say, oh, today we found out there's this story here, there's this case here, there's this case there, there's this case here. Could this be the outbreak? And I think eventually they are going to hit us with an outbreak. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next month or in the next few years, but I'd be surprised if it was any longer than 2017. Remember, the word Ebola sums to 17. I speculate that by the year 17, this Ebola will be a lot bigger. So anyway, there it was, all the 33, from AIDS to Ebola to so much more. It's not just those two things, you guys. You know the pink ribbons for the breast cancer? Go to Wikipedia and look up the charity and see what age the woman was who contracted breast cancer to start the charity. She was 33 years old. Her name was Susan Goodman. The name Susan in Gematria sums to 74, the reverse of 47. The name Goodman sums to 33. What else? Also, it should be noted that Ron Klain, our new Ebola czar, his first and last name both sum to 47, Ron and Klain. And his birthday is August 8th, 1961. The 8/8's curious, but if you sum it up, 8 plus 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 1, it sums to 33. And then the other way to get the numerology of a date is where you'd write it out 8/8/61. 8 plus 8 plus 61 sums to 77. So he has some very special life numbers. And that's the crux of this update, you guys. Please go back and read and watch my older blog posts too. It's all really important. If this is new information to you, you got a lot to learn. If you learn about this, I promise you your understanding of the world is going to be a lot greater.
Okay, so thank you to Gematria32 for uploading that. Obviously, the Ebola thing, it didn't end up being 2017, and it ended up being Corona, another 33, in 2020, which was about 6 years after. But if you remember, from that point up through Corona, there were a lot of scares that came. Zika, just a number of different things. They were even trying to get us with what? What was it the other year? Monkeypox? Here, let me go back and pull up the monkeypox, if that's what it was. Was it monkeypox? Yeah, monkeypox. They were just going monkeypox crazy. They sent off a bunch of there were 47 cases of monkeypox between 1970 and 79. That was some of the early reporting, but hold on. God, I didn't realize I had this many. Hold on. No, it was the first case of monkeypox in children. 201 confirmed cases of monkeypox on George Orwell's birthday. Go figure. Hold on. I got to go back to the original monkeypox thing. Here it is. Monkeypox became the focus of the news May 18th. This is the day I was getting on the plane for Buffalo to go educate about them what had just happened with the shooting on Israel's 74th birthday. But I guess I didn't take the screenshots, but it was May 18th, the 138th day of the year. Monkeypox, 138, most simple. And again, big federal number. Federal's 138. Donald Trump's 138. Remember when the Nationals won the World Series? It was 138 days after Trump's birthday, and the manager was Dave Martinez. But yeah, just again, I mean, go through all these things, what they've done. Zika is 47. And hold on, was Zika... Let me see if it's right. I think it was discovered in 47. Zika infection, earliest discovery 1947. You know what I mean? So again, they've just been introducing all these things to us over the years. And again, my point is, if they got plans to make the Georgia Guidestones come true, again, hopefully it never happens. But the point is, if they do have plans to make the Georgia Guidestones come true and limit the Earth's population to 500 million. Remember, our militaries have been in researching infectious disease, spread of disease through mosquitoes, all kinds of things for a very long time. Walter Reed and beyond. And yeah, it's not out of the question. Remember how genocide equals 44? So does Georgia. The Georgia Guidestones just turned 44 this year on March 22nd. The last rule on there is be not a cancer on the earth. Cancer's 44. That same day, Kate from the royal family said she had cancer. And again, chemo's also 44 and kills 44. And again, they say cancer's rapidly spreading. And Pfizer, did a lot of experiments on people. And then Pfizer bought Seagen on the anniversary of the COVID shot going live, December 14th, the anniversary of the shooting at Sandy Hook in Connecticut. Yeah, there's just so much more that can be said about all these things, but Gematria32 says he uploaded another video today. Here, let's see. He says the other one's worth watching. All right, here, let's check it out. I don't know if these are fun for me to watch too, because I haven't watched this stuff since 2014. Let's see.
Hey, Truth Seekers. So, news is on behind me here. Just saw these headlines. They're bringing up new information in Robin Williams' death, as you can see.
So again, Robin Williams died August 11th, back in the early days of this research. Back then, I didn't know how big August 11th was to the Bay Area, so I don't think I'm going to connect that in this video. I'm going to surprise myself if I do. But you look into August 11th in the history of the Bay, it is big time, from Alcatraz to London Breed and a million other things. But yeah, Robin Williams, big Bay Area performer, dead August 11th. And I'll see what we covered here in this video. I'm sure I did several videos on his death at the time. Here we go.
See it says he had Lewy body dementia. Earlier this year there was the Ice Bucket Challenge, which I exposed. Still most viewed video I've made by a ton to date. Ice Bucket Challenge had the gematria of 74. Well, so does Lewy body dementia. And from the very beginning, I've been saying they often pair 33 and 74. Robin Williams was found dead August 11th, 2014. Write that date, 8/11/14. 8 plus 11 plus 14 sums to 33. Lewy body dementia sums to 74. Jesus was crucified on the cross at the age of 33. Jesus and cross sums to 74. The word Christian's 47. In book 47 of the Quran, it speaks of Muhammad. Muhammad sums to 74, just like Jesus, just like Yeshua, just like Messiah, just like Jewish, just like a cult, just like Lucifer. Very important numbers, and when you really start to think about it, you can think about where all these numbers come from. The other thing about Robin Williams is his name sums to 66. The Bible is of 66 books. his birthday's July 21st. It's Revelation 21:7 who speaks of, the verse says, who will be the Son of God, essentially. So Robin Williams, he has a lot of things that line up with the Bible. If you study Bible numerology, it's said that 21 and 7 are the two most important numbers in the Bible. The word Bible sums to 21. 7 is emphasized heavily throughout the Bible. Robin Williams, like myself, has a July 21st birthday, and my name also sums to 66. I've always felt like I had a special connection to this person, and ironically, I've always felt like I had a special connection to Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was murdered on the 33rd day of the year earlier this year, February 2nd. He was found dead on the 4th floor with 44 bags of heroin. And for me at that time, it was upsetting because I was expecting negative headlines that day. And I noticed how the first reporting of Philip Seymour Hoffman across every outlet that first day emphasized that he died on the 4th floor. And I thought, why are they letting us know he died on the 4th floor in every single article I read about this? Why is it important he died on the 4th floor? In the Bible, book 4 is titled Numbers. In numerology, 4 is the number of foundation. The next day, a detail came out from the police department that he had 44 bags of heroin on him. 44 bags of heroin. Who has 44 bags of heroin is the question. Who would carry that many? I mean, does that even make sense? 44 in Gematria is what the word kill sums to. And of course, we were talking about the death of Philip Seymour Hoffman. So again, you guys, they just keep coding these numbers on people left and right. It's not just actors, it's scientists, it's politicians, it's athletes. On September 11th, somebody just died of ALS at the age of 42. Orlando Thomas, who his whole career wore the number 42, the meaning of life number. This stuff's not going to stop until we stop it, people. And the only way we're going to stop it is by waking up to what's really going on in this world. And what's really going on is we are ruled by a ruthless gang of thugs who are legit killers. And if they're not killing people, if it's something else, then it's legit hoaxers who fake their death endlessly. It's one or the other, and either way, it's based on lies and deception and controlling our minds with false information.
All right, so again, thank you for those uploads. I imagine what I was saying. What I said there, like, I'm looking back, I'm like, what did I mean by I have a special connection to Robin Williams and Philip Seymour Hoffman? It might just be, I think what I meant is I always really liked them as actors when I was a younger person. I liked, Robin Williams in Good Morning Vietnam. That movie always made me laugh a lot, his character. And I like Philip Seymour Hoffman in a lot of roles, including the talented Mr. Ripley. So... But yeah, just so many stories like that, and it's great. I mean, since then, just so many more cases of the exact same thing. And it was either I forgot to say it back then, or I didn't know it yet. I hadn't read probably about 4 in death. Maybe that wasn't in my research yet, or I just didn't bring it up there. But 4, just highly connected number to death. It is the number of death from the Far East. So again, thank you 33 always. Thank you Gematria32 for uploading those. Social Wilt Chamberlain says Biden's State of the Union speech on the 67th day of the year. 86 days later is June 1st. Again, that's the day we've been looking out for maybe Biden to leave office early since Inauguration Day. And again, we did say why Joe Biden would become number 46 in the election 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday when Catholics 46, and the only other Catholic president got sacrificed at age 46, and that was JFK. We're both Catholic and sacrificed at 46. Ava Moon says, thank you for exposing these liars. You're very welcome. Thank you for supporting the work. And Eloy Garcia, always with the generosity, chips in $1. I appreciate that a lot. Again, Eloy, thank you. Thank you, Ava Moon. Thank you, Social Wilt Chamberlain. And thank you, 33, always. Yeah, if you guys watch all my old content from back then, if there was a way to see it, you'll see, we've been on the same message the whole time. About how they're using this code, and they're taking us to a bad place, and it's going to continue to go on until people wake up and stop it, or it gets too late and we can't stop anymore because we're past the point of no return. I got gray hair indeed now. Indeed. I got silver chin. Things I did not have back when I started. All right. Did anyone want to add to this stream? Let me see something real quick. Again, I'd like to get more involvement because I do intend to turn a lot of these into podcasts, and it'd be nice to have some good calls. But here, bear with me a minute. See if we can get any good callers to close this out. Some additional observations. Do about 30 minutes of calls if we can get some good ones. Just because we don't have TFR, got to give people an opportunity to phone in. And let me see if my my radio station's back up for another opportunity for callers here. Or actually, you know what? I forgot. We're on this. Or no, I think we can get it to work. Here, it's going to take about a minute standby, and we'll have a call board up. Hopefully.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your host PIN. When finished, press the pound key.
To start your show now, press 1. To hear important instructions.
Your show is scheduled to start in 14 seconds.
All right, we got a call board, and it's on a countdown right now.
We are sorry, but we are experiencing a problem with our system.
Oh,
Please
snap.
try your call again later or report a problem through the Blog Talk Radio webpage.
Never mind.
To start your show now, press 1.
Hold on.
To hear important instructions, press 2.
Since I advertised the call in, and that's not going to work, we'll go to the backup plan. All right, hold on here while I switch audio settings around. All right, let's see. All right, backup call in. We don't have the call board. I think I used it all up with the earlier show. I was hoping it would have reset by now, but probably doesn't reset till tomorrow. If you got something to add into what we're talking about, and again, that would be anything that I brought up in the stream. That's what the subject is. If your call should relate to something I talked about in this stream, which is a diversity of topics. So it shouldn't be too hard to be on point. That's not the call-in number because we don't have that call board. So the call-in number is this. And the line is open. And again, let's get back up on the slide here. All right, that is the slide. Again, Golden Gate in the Bay Area shut down on Paul Pelosi's 84th birthday. Of course, his wife, Nancy Pelosi, big-time politician in the Bay Area from Baltimore, and the Key Bridge collapsed on her 84th birthday. Right there's the starting point of what are the odds of these things? Does the average person just go to immediately that it's definitely a coincidence, it's just a big coincidence? If so, does that person have the ability to listen to what we're talking about in terms of things being orchestrated and planned for the order out of chaos agenda? And this is the way they pull the wool over our eyes, keep scamming us into the next agenda, the next bill, the next expense that makes them richer and more powerful. One little move at a time, one chess move at a time. Key Bridge was a chess move. Big one. 9/11 was a chess move, even bigger one.
The Fern Hollow Bridge collapse. That was a chess move, smaller one, but they all build up. All right, so far we don't have any calls, so maybe we don't have anybody that wants to add on. Yeah, I guess I got to get back to a Wednesday night show because that's when people are used to calling in. So, that's the old house, Gematria 32. There were a lot of sirens. There were a lot of sirens in that neighborhood. Indeed, there was. It wasn't the hood, though. It was not the hood, but yeah, there were a lot of sirens over there. There's a lot worse places to be. It's just sad that we live in a world where there is so many sirens. All right, well, somehow, some way, we don't have any calls. We don't have any calls. Here, I'll maybe somebody doesn't want to call in. Maybe somebody wants to join the link, so I'll drop the link in the chat too. But yeah, I just want to make sure we don't have any more thoughts to be added to this presentation before we wrap it up. All right, we got a caller. Hello?
Hi, Zach. Found you 11 years ago. This is old man Louis Trebuchet. Before I die, I just want to say thanks for what you've done.
Well, I appreciate you being here all these years. I hope you're nowhere near dying.
What's that?
You said before you die, isn't that what you just said? I said I hope you're nowhere near dying.
Well, I'm 70. I had a stroke a couple of years ago. One thing I want to say about those two towers on Mill Avenue is they were going to use an anniversary ritual every year on that corner to celebrate. You know that?
Down by the Sun Devils campus?
Yeah, and everything's Sun Devil. Sun Devil Car Wash, Diablo Apartments, Sun Devil Auto, Sun Devil Coffee Shop from the late 50s on the corner of Mill and University. It's devil this and devil that.
Yeah. The Pope actually visited Arizona State years ago, and
oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I saw that little event, you know, and I think I probably twisted a big one up just to watch it.
Okay.
Along with John McCain parading down there, good old John Manchurian candidate McCain going down Mill Avenue, big parade. But I just want to point out that, yeah, if they had those two towers, either the 20-story or the 13-story, they were going to have an anniversary ritual there every year on the 11th. And earlier I wasn't on top of it. I had a bad migraine headache with the zigzag neon hallucination, so I wasn't with it earlier.
I see.
You know, I'm old. You know, I'm suffering accelerated decrepitude. Just shit happens.
Well, I'm glad you're still hanging in there. Keep a positive mindset. Remember, the first rule of Hermeticism is everything is mental. So if you think you're going to live long, I'm sure you will live longer.
Well, it's just, you know, I opposed the Vietnam War on ASU campus in front of Old Main, which is way up tall. Up high, it's carved in that it's Arizona Normal School or the Territorial Normal School, and that's the oldest F-Basin building on campus, and it was co-opted. They had alphabet agency guys walking amongst us with bell bottoms and paisley shirts that were crazy mismatched and synthetic long hair wigs, and they had us do a sit-in front of Old Main. So we didn't walk down Mill Avenue. Nobody saw us. So I've been literally, and they photographed all of us because one guy went up in the building and tried to smoke a joint, and then he saw this guy with the telephoto lens, you know, with military brush cut haircut. He went to the other end of the building, on the east end of the building, same thing. Another guy, military brush cut, telephoto lens. So they telephoto recorded this. I've been a TI since 1969. I've gone to, you know, nobody drove a car through my garage, but I go through a litany of just whack stuff that's happened to me because of the stuff I do opposing them since 1969. They don't like you like me. They don't like you like me.
Well, if there was more people speaking out, it would be harder for them to do anything about it.
4 laptops that killed off 64 Gmail accounts. I've been doing this a long time. It's just hard for a single old man. Unfortunately, I didn't have the benefit of good, loving woman in my life, so it's a rough haul. To do a single solo cruise doing this opposition to these devolved mutants. But thanks for everything.
Well, you're very welcome, and stay strong and healthy, friend. I appreciate it.
Old man Bo out.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Zach. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, we got one call in. Maybe we don't have any more calls. I got to wrap this up, though, pretty soon and start making dinner for Sweet Lady. Got to keep Sweet Lady happy. Yeah, and that's the thing, too, about just like having solid people in your life. Solid people can help out in tough times. Hold on, we got a no caller ID. You just never know when you open the no caller ID. No caller ID? No caller ID.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, sorry. Let me turn off my television here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
Can't believe I'm talking to you, man. Like 1 second I'm looking at your show and nobody's calling in. I'm like, maybe it's my time to call in.
There you go. It was.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, like there should be more people calling in. But I guess not, And I guess my question to you is basically, what do you do when, people around you don't even have like any common sense? And I'm not trying to come off as like some kind of brainiac or I got everything figured out, but it's like, trying to explain to them, about, talk to them about numerology when they don't even have any bit of common sense. I mean, what the hell do you do?
Well, stick to what's probably in their toolbox. Almost everybody knows about George Orwell in 1984. So maybe you could just point out this thing about these bridge rituals with Pelosi and her husband in 84, and then maybe get into George Orwell's 1984. Could there be a greater meaning to that number? Is there a reason Anthony Fauci was the head of NIH since 1984 until he rode off into the sunset in the time of the pandemic? That was his biggest moment in his career, that was also heavily connected to HIV and AIDS and his debate with Carrie Mullis that never happened, as Carrie Mullis dies right before the pandemic goes down. I mean, I don't know. You meet people where just stuff isn't the mainstream, and then if they can grasp it, then you can take them to the next step, which I suppose is teaching about like the meaning of 84.
I mean, it's like, I'm in the city, I'm in a major city, and it's like, there's no, man, I'm just so frustrated because, look, man, I'm not, I don't consider myself smart, but I got some common sense, and it's just very frustrating, It's like I barely got any friends, I got one friend, he's overweight, wife's overweight, all the kids are overweight, but when I try to give him a little bit of advice, because I don't have, I'm pretty much in shape, and I try to give him advice, and it's like, well, they didn't grow up eating like that. I'm like, well, who the hell fed them? You know what I mean? It's like, they have no common sense at all, and they don't want to take any advice from any direction. And it's like, what the hell do you do? I mean, numerology takes a little bit of figuring out, and everything you're saying it makes sense. It's right on the money. But again, what do you do with people that don't even have the slightest bit of common sense? I mean, I could show them, like you said, I could talk about 1984 and show them the simple things. But when I walk into his apartment, a certain buddy of mine, he's got CNN going, and he knows how I feel about CNN. Sometimes I wonder if he's antagonizing me, because he's not from here. You know what I mean? He's not, American per se. And sometimes I wonder if he does it on purpose.
Sure, people are that way, passive aggressive, just trying. I know, man. It is that kind of world. It's annoying. It's just like, if my mom, she's out there listening right now. She always wants to call and tell me about the latest episode of The High Wire, and I tell her, Mom, please call after 1 p.m. and I'll listen all day. But she always wants to call in the morning when she knows I'm doing like my hardest, most focused work, and she'll never call me at any other time other than right early in the morning. And I know she does it to antagonize. And sadly, I mean, just a lot of people are that way. My own mother's that way, so. Yeah, that's the world we live in.
Yeah, and it, it really sucks, And look, man, I want to join the Patreon and stuff like that. And, I see what you're talking about, sports and stuff like that, but I'm not a gambling dude, I've never been, and I'm kind of like, a little bit on the fence, like, should I, shouldn't I? I mean, $11 a month is nothing, and the work that you're doing is, it's priceless, dude.
Here's my advice. So if you don't like gambling, I would not start gambling because it can also be a headache. And again, I wish that wasn't even really a component of my thing. But the point of my work is to wake up people, and it's the sports thing that's really woken up more people than anyone else because you have to meet the masses where they're at. And the only value most people see in the work is to pay for my sports content. So for people who weren't here from 2013 to 2018, anything I did in the world of sports was out there for free. But I put a little monetization to it in September of 2018 after I exhausted my own savings from speaking out for 5 years for, you could ultimately say, the goodness in my heart. I wasn't doing it for any resource. I was doing it to try and get a message out to change the world because I saw something ugly coming. And, to continue doing it in September 2018, monetized the sports information, but not for a high price. I mean, I made it for $5 a month, which was a super good deal. But yeah, if you don't like gambling, just stay away from gambling. I mean, so.
I mean, I don't have anything against it. I just never have, but, I want to thank you, too, for also waking me up to all this bullshit, man, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. Dude, this is like my first call, ever to anybody. Like on YouTube, so I'm a little bit nervous, so excuse me if I'm all over the place here, but, I'm kind of excited, but I'm kind of wow, I can't believe, I'm talking to you, dude. I'm sorry, man, but I've been watching you for a long time now. The stuff that you say makes sense, and thank you so much I'm going to join the Patreon, I'm going to do it, I just have to do it, stop thinking about it and just freaking doing it. Not necessarily for the sports gambling or anything, but hey, why not put a couple of bucks in my pocket,
That is the mindset. It's taking advantage of the rig system. And here, for people who are not on my sports thing, what I teach people is how to be smart about this knowledge and use it where it doesn't become some big problem in your life, but a fun way to use it where you can definitely get ahead of the curve and escape also investing your energy in these rig things, from the elections to the sports. But the mentality I teach is each day, limit your gambling amount to $5 and try to turn a $5 bill into $50 or $100. You can actually do that with a 3-4 team parlay, and you can do it a lot with this knowledge. And I make the point that you only have to win 1 out of 10 days with that strategy to make sure you're continually building a profit. If you only won 1 out of 10 days, you would build a very slow profit, but you wouldn't be going in any hole. And a lot of people have learned how to master that technique, and then they end up betting a little more than $5 and making a little bit more than $50 consistently. But like I always say, if you lose your $5 that day, your attitude can also be, because again, the average American blows way more than $5 a day on shit they don't need. A big old Slurpee that's nothing but toxic for their body. If you're like that, then tomorrow you don't get your $5 Slurpee, you get your $5 back that way. Or instead of wasting $5 on an overpriced cup of coffee, make your coffee at home for 25 cents and then spend that $5 bill on trying to turn it into $50. So again, for all the trolls and slanderers out there, they're all frauds and phonies. I've always taught a very sound method with this knowledge, and you can consistently win, as we've proven in this community with a lot of us doing it for several years now, a lot of years, almost pretty much a decade. So don't tell me it's some fluke or it's not true. We've been proving it in spades.
Dude, you're a master at what you do. I mean, 10 years plus, you really know your stuff, but I'm like, how does Zach sleep at night knowing all this knowledge? And it's kind of creepy, man. knowing that this is happening, and it's creepy, man. It's like right out of a freaking horror movie or something, man. It's hard to wrap my head around it, but it's all there, you lay it out, you lay the numbers out, and I mean, who can deny it, And another thing, Zach, how come you don't talk about the UFC that often?
I used to talk about it a lot. And I could start talking about it more, but there's a lot of people in my community who were back in the day and learned how to decode the UFC. It's I mean, I could do the UFC too. I really don't like the UFC. That's also part of the reason I don't talk about it. I really do think the UFC is bad for society, and I'll always go back to my example from what I witnessed with my own eyes living in Seattle. In the 7 years I lived downtown Seattle, I lived right next to Key Arena, where the Sonics used to play before they became the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they still have the women's team play, where they have the concerts, where they had the one UFC fight that happened the year I was down there. The night they had the UFC fight, chaos just broke out in Seattle, broken windows everywhere, fights everywhere, people acting crazy, and I just thought, look at the energy this thing brings. Before they even brought that fight, I remember going to a bar years before that, a big bar in Seattle where you had to pay to watch the UFC fight. There was a $10 cover to get in, and then, or maybe it was $20, I don't remember. But just so many fights, even in that bar while the UFC was going on. I was like, God, I've been here many times. I've never seen people going crazy. So UFC brings a bad vibration to the populace, as far as I can tell.
Dude, and I noticed it made me aggressive, and it made me more aggressive. But they just had UFC 300, and you know what? I decided it was a good time to just get the hell off that, man, because all that aggression, and it just seems like some kind of freaking ritual or something. Two guys beating their heads inside a freaking octagon. It's like, I'm like, and it's the same thing over and over. If it's not John Jones, it's the other guy. And then now this guy's great. Now Pereira's great. And it's just like this never-ending thing. And just this weekend, it just dawned on me, like, that's what sports are. It's this never-ending thing. And you said the other day, you're like, you people go out to see these, sports games or whatever, you tune in to television to see them, but, you don't, I mean, it's like, God, I just had a brain fart, dude. I was about to make a good point, man, but, you said it last week, I mean, in one of your podcasts, it's like, I mean, I got better things to do with myself, man, and I kind of just made that decision this weekend to kind of just, it's a never-ending, like putting a carrot on a stick, and we're just following, it's never-ending. Oh, now I know what you said. You said that most people, they root for these teams, and nobody from their city is on the team.
Exactly.
And that just opened my eyes even more, man, and don't think people aren't listening to what you're saying, dude, I mean, it's like some people are probably nervous to call in, or, like I can't believe I called in, but, I mean, what the hell, shit, man, everything's going to hell, man. I don't know what we're going to do, because people don't even have the slightest common sense, man. Let alone do a little bit of math and some, adding like you're doing. I mean, Jesus, it's like, I don't know what we're going to do, man. It's, but I wrote down the name of that movie. I'm always looking for a good movie, that movie you mentioned, The Cabin in the Woods. I'd seen it, promoted in the past, but I didn't realize, what it was about, but I wrote that down. Do you have any other good movies you could recommend?
I always say the must-watch movies in terms of just what's going on in the world and where they put major clues in Hollywood. And understand, there's probably more that I don't know about, but I always say you got to watch the movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage. That one's huge. They Live, of course. Wag the Dog. Wag the Dog is essential viewing. Wag the Dog might be the most important one. Wag the Dog might be at the top of the list. And just the way that movie ends, too. Have you seen Wag the Dog?
No, and I never would have. It would have never even entered my radar. I mean, a movie Wag the Dog. Why would
For people who have to know what Wag the Dog's about, that movie came out while Bill Clinton was in office, and what the movie's about is a president has sex with a very young person, and it's becoming the news, and it's re-election time. Here's how young of a person the president has sex with. The president had sex with a Girl Scout cookie salesman who was 12 years old. So this is the premise of the movie. The president had sex with this 12-year-old girl, and he has to win re-election, and they have to cover up this news story. So they bring in Robert De Niro he's the mastermind from Hollywood that knows how to control the people and control the narrative. So he's going to start a war. He's going to create a war only on television, because you have to re-elect a wartime president even if he had sex with a 12-year-old girl. So this happened back when Trump, yeah, might as well be because it was Trump versus Clinton's wife, but it was Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, and then remember how we got the wars in like Kosovo and Bosnia? And what's funny is in Wag the Dog, they start the war in the same region of the world. And there's so many things in that movie that are important to pick up on what they do, because you don't think it's just a comedy and a joke. But there's literally like government, agents that are creating false history and putting it in the National Archive to build this false story throughout history. They had to build up all this false stuff for the present moment based on false history that's now in the National Archive. They could say, what do you mean it's false history? There it is in the National Archive. There's so many jokes in this movie. But at the end, the guy who they get to direct the whole thing, he wants his clout in the news, and he wants the world to know that he did this propaganda campaign for the government and for the re-election, and then the CIA just kills him. And but yeah, there's just so many little. I mean, I pretty much just ruined the whole movie. But if you watch it, you'll realize like it's just. Yeah, so Wag the Dog, Knowing, you gotta watch Knowing. It's about how once he figures out the number code, he's an MIT math professor, once he figures out this number code, he realizes that all of these events have been orchestrated by a number code for the last century. It's like, oh my God. So that's Knowing. And They Live, of course, is the movie that's really goofy, but if you're trying to wake people up, you'll get the joke. Like there's the forever long fight between Roddy Piper and his co-star.
Roddy Piper. Now, let me. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Zach, but I'm a big fan of They Live, and because of you, I have a total new. It was like after I learned some of the things that you've kind of taught us, it just took on a whole new meaning to me. They Live. It's like a new movie to me. It's like putting on the glasses or something, and thanks to you, and I mean that, and another thing, thanks for, opening my eyes about Trump, and I'll tell you, I've always said that, even before you started saying anything about, that kind of caught my attention, I was telling a buddy of mine that, Trump is a piece on a chessboard, and people need to realize that.
He literally is. That's why they had him at Fordham in 64, the Jesuit University in New York. Again, 64 spaces on the chessboard. If Trump wins re-election, he's going to exit office 64 years after his Jesuit education began.
Hey, Zach, why do you think they do this? Is it to relieve karma or something? I heard that one time. Why do you think they let us know what they're doing? Why not just keep it a secret?
I heard the same thing you did, that it's part of their karma. I don't know that that's true. It could also be part of the spell casting to just like put it out into the universe, like Hermeticism, like all's mental. They get the idea out in the world. It's in the minds of the world. It helps it manifest. It helps the ritual fulfill. I don't know. There could be all kinds of explanations. All I know is they do it, and if people would wake up to it, they'd see through what's going on.
Yeah, but Zach, what I'm saying is, look, man, when you do somebody wrong, most likely karma's going to come back around and bite you. I mean, it's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people. But how do you get away with, like killing people or whatever, and you just keep on trucking along? Like, where's the karma? Like, are we the only ones subject to that? Or, I mean, it's very frustrating and confusing to see.
Yeah, I don't want to say that karma's not real because I feel that it is, but I have the same kind of questions, and so do a lot of people.
Where's the justice, man?
Yeah.
Where's the justice in the karma that they're doing?
Yeah.
They just keep on trucking along since the Vietnam War days,
Indeed.
Just keep trucking along.
Indeed.
This McNamara guy, a banker in charge of calling shots in the Vietnam War, It's like, when does it end? When does karma strike back, at them? It seems like we're the only ones that have to worry about that.
Well, again,
something else.
I went on a rant about this a while back that I do believe there is God or a creator, and I believe there is right and wrong in spirituality, and there is, rewards and consequences. But I also think humanity would almost be better off if we didn't have a concept of God and this idea of waiting for something to come save us, and people just understood that the world is like thoughts and actions. And if everybody's like, okay, I'm not waiting for karma or justice to come, I'm going out to achieve justice because I see that I'm ruled over by something that is evil and tyrannical. And yeah, Zeus isn't striking them with lightning from the clouds, and they aren't falling out of power, and they seem to be gaining more power. So to me, that doesn't mean like, for some people, that's like, see, that's proof there's no God. That's not what it's proof of to me. It's proof that we're created in this world and we're given hearts and minds and we know what's right and wrong. And the average American at this point sees all the things that are wrong, but then they're down with voting for the lesser of two evils and wondering why things only continue to get more evil. It's like we have to act to stop this. Like I said the other day at the interview, I said, the federal government needs to not exist. We can just have state governments and some kind of federal organization, some sheet of paper of 10 agreeable things that everyone can get down with because they're all undeniably true to the well-being of our existence. But this federal government is so tyrannical and it has so much power and it's so far away from most of us. Most of us aren't on the East Coast. I have to drive 3,500 miles if I want to protest in the nation's capital. Like, that's feasible, So... And it has to be more than protest. I'm saying that the hearts and minds have to realize this thing has to be taken down. It can't just be a protest and go home. It's like we're showing up all the manpower and we're doing away with the federal government. It's not going to exist after today. That's the thing. We're going to try to do it non-violently. We're going to show up by, this is the 100 million man march. All 100 million adults in the U.S. are going to figure out how to convoy out here to say enough with the tyranny. Give me state government. We can come here and agree today that these 10 things that all 50 states can agree to, but there's no more of this federal tyranny. We're not paying taxes this thing. This thing doesn't declare war anymore. It doesn't make law. It's on state law at this point. And these 10 things that we can all agree to. Or it doesn't have to be 10 things. It can be 5 things. But it's just that no states will make war with each other. Again, it's just, the point is, this thing has to go and it hasn't gone. And that's why I keep bringing up the point that Thomas Jefferson, who's the best founder there ever was, in terms of what's recorded in the history, he said there has to be a revolution every 19 years, not 90, 19, every 19, like the 19-year cycle of the moon, or you will lose rights and liberties. And we get it now with COVID-19 after 19 hijackers on 9/11, 19 years apart from each other. I mean... So yeah. Anyway, everything you're saying, man, I got to wrap this up because I do have to move on. But everything you're saying, I think we all get, and I'll give you the final word. But yeah, it is frustrating times. I think we just have to figure out a way to do better. Those of us who are awake to engage our friends and families and neighbors, because if not, we're all going to lose together. I think that's just what time it is.
Yeah. Well, hey, Zach, I don't want to take any more of your time up. Again, man, it was such a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully I'm going to sign up soon, but I just want you to know, man, that you're appreciated, and I do want to show it with some money. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to say, hey, you're appreciated, but if I'm not doing anything, about it, giving, a little bit of money, I just feel like it just defeats the purpose. You know what I mean?
Well, again, it's not really. I mean, there's so many ways to contribute to my work. Sharing the work is a huge contribution. I mean, theoretically, if everyone just shared the work and it just spread and people got it, we wouldn't even need any more money because then our goal would be achieved. The reason I say this needs resources is so that we can hire a team of people, have a permanent location, travel together, go to big events together. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if Team Gematria was down in the Bay Area right now on the megaphones and the speakers, just like we were last April, talking about this ritual that just went down, trying to wake up that populace to the ritual that just went down at the taxpayer expense that inconvenienced all these people? I mean, how many people just sat in traffic for 5 hours over their ritual, and it could have had major consequences. You know, the one guy said that my wife can't, or my daughter can't go to work because I'm supposed to be taking care of her children right now. Again, what happens when mom can't feed her 4 children now as a single mom waiting on dad to come across the bridge? Again, this is what I've been saying for years about how we need to wake up to how we're being played with, because one day it could be a 9/11 in your neighborhood. And you know, that old man who they just had on the news talking about that, how he should have been there for his daughter. I'm just going to make an assumption, but there's a lot of guys his age that are worth $10 million in the Bay Area because they started with these computer companies and they got shares for pennies on the dollar that are now worth hundreds of dollars, and they got $10 million in shares just for working on the right companies in the right industry. How many of these guys worth 10, 20, 30 million in the Bay Area have been sitting back watching my work getting older and older and older and maybe got inconvenienced by the bridge collapse, and it could get a lot worse? People like that might realize one day, like, oh, I should have helped out that Zachary K. Hubbard. I see what he was saying. You know, because what did his 10 million do rotting in the bank? He could have donated to us, and we could have created GematriaEffectNews across the nation. Really, this is what should be happening right now. People should be using whatever power and capability they have to work together, to organize, to create something powerful, to undo what's being done. And again, I mean, it's just like, it hasn't happened. People don't know how to cooperate. Ralph Nader said if you put the right message out there, the super rich will save us. I don't think that's true, Ralph. I think they would have come and helped me out a long time ago. But yeah, again, we can't wait on karma. We just got to do better ourselves. And that's what I keep telling myself every time I get up in the morning. I got to figure out how to do better.
Yeah, and Zach, you know, I'm not waiting on karma. You know, I'm just saying, where is it at? I'm not, you know, it's never there.
Well, I don't know that it's never there. I mean, have you ever done something and not? It could have been a day later. It could have been instant karma. It could have been. Did you ever feel like because you did something right, something good came into your life that was nice that might otherwise not be there? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah. Well, it's happened to me. I mean, yeah, I've experienced things like that. You know, not often.
For me personally, here's what I'll say. Like in my life, I think the woman I have in my life, I call her Sweet Lady. I think she is the result of good karma because I got a really good one. I mean, I wish she was more courageous. I mean, she's a woman, so I mean, she has all of her flaws, but she's a really good person, and I feel like the reason she came into my life is because I was a gentleman for a lot of my life. I could have been a lot more mischievous of a boy. I had a lot of, you know, friends, girlfriends that were, you know, getting way too flirtatious with me. And then throughout the days, over the years, you know, like I didn't mess around with those types of situations. I'm like, no, I'm not messing around with my friend's girlfriend. I know some of my friends who I was like that for them. They wouldn't have been like that for me. And I learned those things as we went on further in life. But I realized that because I made a lot of right choices, I think that's why I ended up with a really class act of a woman, you know, by the time I was in my late 20s. And I feel like her coming into my life also, if I hadn't met her, I might not have figured out this knowledge, even though she's not crazy about it. But I feel like it is because of her and things that happened in our life after we got together. She wanted me to start reading the Bible again, and it my curiosity was reignited and why there's so many numbers in the Bible. And it wasn't long after that I was figuring out this gematria thing. So I feel like those are the kind of karma things that happen in our life. You make the right decisions in the relationship world. Maybe by the time you're 29 and 12, 13, 14, 15 years have played out, the world, you know, gives you this gem of a woman. So, I mean, and maybe you have to, maybe like for some people it's going to come even later. I don't know. I feel like we do good in the world. It's more likely that good things will come back to us. So I'm not throwing karma all the way out, but yeah, I totally get the point of how there can be such evil people and they can all live to be 100 years old and get away with this and there's no justice.
That's what I'm saying, you know. My mom just passed away 2 years ago, and, you know, here's Pelosi, you know, who knows? She's probably 90 years old, you know? We don't know. I know that they're lying about their age, that's for sure. You know? I mean, why wouldn't they, you know? Like, to just appeal to the younger crowd, you know?
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it.
A 25-year-old will get more votes than an 85-year-old would, you know?
Exactly.
But hey, man, I don't want to take up more of your time. Maybe I'll call back some other time. But dude, I appreciate you so much. And one more thing, that they lived is about gematria, right? It's like words with double meaning, right?
They live, we sleep. The motto of the film equals 74, like gematria, like English, like energy. Absolutely. You run it the other way. That movie came out in 88, energy 88. The other side of the code.
Reminded me of what you're teaching is, like when Roddy Piper puts on the glasses and he sees double meanings. You know what I mean? Like something looks regular, but as soon as he puts the glasses on, it means like obey your master or whatever. That's gematria. Right?
I'd already seen that movie before I learned gematria. When I found gematria, I thought, this is like the Roddy Piper They Live glasses. And then you guys, lo and behold, Roddy Piper, that movie came out 201 days after his birthday. He tweeted on the Jesuit anniversary recognition date, September 27th. That was the day he put out the tweet that They Live as a documentary, and then he ended up dying on Ignatius Loyola's birthday prematurely. I don't think any of that's an accident. And again, that movie begins with a street mural of a vaccine in L.A. And again, 201, like Event 201. What's that?
I must have missed that.
Yeah, go back. It's the opening of the movie. The camera's at the beginning of the movie. The camera's just sitting there on the underpass with the graffiti of the mural. And the next thing you know, it shows Roddy Piper walking down along the tracks. He's looking for the men's home to get a job. But yeah, the camera's sitting right there on a street mural of a vaccine. Go back and watch it.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Thanks, man. Thanks for your time, dude.
Yeah.
And again, much appreciated, bro. You're much appreciated.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Okay.
All right. I do gotta. Hold on. I got to get off here in 5 minutes. But 816, what's up?
Hey, Zach, how's it going?
Yeah, what's up?
I was listening to your stream earlier. You were talking about the number 72.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because of the 7 jurors that just got selected for Trump's trial after the second day.
I haven't caught up on the news for the second day of Trump's trial. I'll be sure to check it out.
Yes, 7 jurors selected after 2 days of Trump hush money, CNN claims.
Okay, yeah, I'll get caught up on that story.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught you probably don't watch soccer, but this weekend, Sporting Kansas City played Inter Miami.
Okay.
And I think they play in Kansas, but they moved that specific game to the Chiefs Stadium, the Gia Stadium.
Okay.
And they claim they broke an attendance record of 72,000.
Okay.
600 something.
Okay.
And if you go on their Facebook page, after that game they posted, it says from 96 to 24, thank you for making history with us. Hashtag Sporting Kansas City. And 96 minus 24, that's 72.
I see.
And they actually used to play at the Chiefs Stadium.
Arrowhead Stadium is 72, like Patrick Mahomes Jr., yeah. It's a big Jesuit number, 72.
Yeah, the Sporting Kansas City used to have their season games there until 2007, I think was the last year.
I see.
So that's
2 and 7.
27.
Yeah. I see. All right.
I was calling in about that 72 because I started noticing that on their Facebook.
Remember that bridge that came down in Baltimore? Construction began in 72 on the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and that was the same year that Hyundai was founded. It was the Hyundai ship, the Dolly, that crashed into the bridge. Jesuit Order 72. That's when Biden's wife and daughter died in a car crash, and then he lost his son Beau Biden when he was 72. And again, just big time number. The first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year. Jesuit Order equals 72. 72 demons in the Goetia. 72 names of God in Kabbalah. The sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. There's something about 72 in Jesus that's escaping me right now in the original Greek manuscript of the New Testament. But anyway, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call.
Oh, no problem, man.
Yeah, see it. You guys see this post from 2015? Trump, what is it about this guy? From that day up to now, we've been documenting all the 88s with Trump. That headline, what is it about this guy equals 88. It's like Trump, like how Oprah asked him in 88 if you want to be president, like what they just did on his golf course with the mega quake, 88 weeks from the first pro tournament there. 402? 402?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Zach, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's up?
I don't really know what the topic of today is.
Okay, I got to get off there, man. I got to get off.
All right, then. Whatever.
What's the... All right, make the point real quick. I just said call in if you know something that related to the show. So, go ahead. Real quick, though. I got to get off.
It's all good, brother. It'll take more than a second, man. No hard feelings.
Okay. All right, thank you. So you just got certain people that just always want to call in. They don't even know what the topic is. And it's just like, well, can't we get some more people to add in on the topic? I mean, there were so many things here. But, here, we got our resident youngster that wants to get in here, too.
Hey, Zach.
What's up, yeah, what's up?
Oh, wait. Is there an IQ or an echo?
Let me fix it.
Okay. Yeah, now I think I can hear you. So on the topic of that older video that Gematria32 posted, that's actually from a channel called allfortruth.com, and it's there's like 200 of your videos from like 2013 to 14. Here, I just posted it in the chat. And I also just re-uploaded a video on my channel from it. It's about the O.J. Simpson psyops. Was anyone even murdered? I just uploaded it 15 minutes ago. But yeah, I found the channel a couple days ago, posted it on Free to Find Truth. And there's a lot of old videos on there. There's stuff about Russia, Ukraine. I just posted that right here in the private chat too. And this stuff's from 2014. And I wanted to add in that for people to try and find. I think I just pasted the comment of the link to that channel. But yeah, there's a lot of older videos people can go and watch. And yeah, I'm downloading the channel right now. So.
All right, here. I'm gonna play this clip since you re-uploaded it to your channel. So Truth Does Not Exist just put this on his channel. Just talking about OJ many years ago. I mean, it's probably from 2014, 15.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So here, I got to switch the audio setting. Otherwise, people won't hear it. And you can't make you echo. So here, I'll play this.
I'll be quiet
I got to
then.
get dinner rolling, but I'll come back in a minute. But yeah, here, I am curious what I said in this video. So, all right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
All right. Let me see. I got to watch it while I'm in the other room. So hold on. I got to get it set up here so I can see it. Let's see. Wait, why can I not see it? I can see it. There we go. I got it. Okay. All right. Let me make sure the audio is right so everyone will be able to hear the video muted. All right. There we go. I got it. Okay. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear it.
Hello, good people. Thank you for tuning back in. Today I want to talk about O.J. Simpson and how he is part of an ongoing plot that started even before his trial that is centered with this gematria and numerology and conspiracy that I am educating about with this video blog. And I'm going to show you how it fits right in with the word honky, up to Trayvon Martin, up to Michael Brown right now, and a bunch of things in between, including the Rodney King incident, which happened on March 3rd, 3/3, the same date Trayvon Martin was buried, also March 3rd. So remember this number, 3/3. All right, so let's start with O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was a celebrity in this nation for being two things: a star football player and a Hollywood actor. An actor and an athlete. And if you follow this blog, I've talked about how athletes are in many ways much like actors. So OJ, his real name is Orenthal James Simpson. Orenthal sums to 39 in gematria. James sums to 12. Simpson sums to 33, this crucial number. We find that in our media, many establishments such as the New York Times were established on dates that sum to 33. Words such as Newsweek and People equal 33. Lots and lots of this. Same with the police. The word police equals 33. So the full name Orenthal James Simpson sums to 84, which is exactly what United States of America sums to using this same method. And the two methods are name and code name, which you see in the center top of the page, if you can locate that with your eyes. Just pause it if you need a moment to absorb this information. Please pause. And also know that below in the comments, I have linked my blog, which shows all the math for this. The reason I don't write all the math up on here is because it becomes an eye clutter and just overwhelming for most people. Even as is probably overwhelming for a lot of people. So I apologize. So bear with me. I will explain it. All right. So when we think of the number 84, which United States of America sums to, we probably all think of George Orwell's book 1984 about this futuristic police state that's always at war for unknown reasons, and it seems like it's full of corruption and fear. It's not exactly like the present day United States of America, because we're more full of like consumerism and television and I guess what I would call false happiness. So it's not as grim as 1984, at least not yet, and hopefully it never will be. But it's a similar world. There's parallels there. So moving back to the name O.J. Simpson, his initials OJS sum to 44, which also happens to sum to the word kill in gematria, which I did the math for up there, 11 plus 9 plus 12 plus 12, just going with where the letters are in the alphabet. The word hope also sums to 44, as does faith. Faith and hope are also 44 words. So, O.J. Simpson, in gematria, he has a very curious name. The numbers 33 and 39 are curious. They're paired in James Madison to New York to the Declaration of Independence. So, these aren't just arbitrary numbers, and they don't just show up in anybody's name. Why don't you apply this method to your own name to see what you find? See if you have a name like this. Perhaps you do. I mean, there's a lot of us out there. There's a chance you could have a name like this, but go ahead and do it. See what you find out. It would be nice if you even shared it on the blog. That would be cool if you shared down in the comments what your name summed to. You don't even have to write your name. You could just say what the sum was. Anyhow, let's see. So, moving on with this O.J. Simpson hoax with 33 at the center of it, look at the date and time that the crime scene was found. It was found at 12:10 in the morning, so just fresh into the new day. If you look at the story, it says dogs were barking on late June 12th, which is what attracted the eyes that came and witnessed it at 12:10 on June 13th. What's significant about 121, that number, is that 11 times 11 equals 121. The book of Revelation, if you do it with the larger method, like name up here in the middle of the page, Revelation sums to 121. With the smaller method, like codename up here, Revelation sums to 49, which both reduce to 4. And in the Bible, the fourth book is called Numbers, and in numerology, the number 4 is foundation. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm going to talk more about that 4 in CNN in a second. So the crime scene date, if you sum the numerology of it as I did, 6 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 4, it sums to 33. And I think most of us who were living know where we were when all this stuff happened in the O.J. Simpson trial. The white Bronco chase, white Broncos are referred to in Revelation. That's why I bring that up with the 121. I really do think these madmen who code all this stuff, I believe they are truly following a code that is within the Bible, which I do not understand fully, but I'm coming to learn more and more. So also, the crime scene was on South Bundy. The gematria of South Bundy is 42, which in numerology is said to be the meaning of life number. In English, words such as war, sin, gun sum to 42. So does the word sub, as in below, 42, meaning of life. Think about that. Strange. If you add the DR for drive, like how you would commonly write the address on an envelope, it sums to 55, which equates to words such as Satan, psychology, and numerology. And going back to the Bible, the Gutenberg Bible is credited with being published on March 22nd, 322, 1455. So the year 55 in the 15th century. Interesting. Gutenberg Bible. Anyway, that date, supposedly, O.J. Simpson murdered Ron Goldman. The name Ron is 47. The name Goldman is 66. The Bible is 66 books in length. The word Christian sums to 47 with the codename method. Ron Goldman sums to 113, this number that's found all over. And if you watch my other blog posts, I will educate more about 113. Think about what 11 times 3 is. The verdict for O.J. Simpson came on October 3rd, 1995. October is the only month with 33 gematria. The date sums to 28, which represents the complete cycle. That's the complete solar cycle in nature, at least as it's taught in science. It's the number of years the World Trade Centers were open. They were open 5 years after MLK assassination on April 4th, 1973. They lasted for 28 years and 7 months and 4 days. February is a tribute to 28. That's why there's 28 days. What gets real interesting is his O.J. Simpson's 3-star attorneys were Robert Shapiro, Robert Kardashian, and Johnny Cochran, and all of their names sum to 74. Both the names Robert equal 33, and the names Shapiro and Kardashian sum to 41. Johnny Cochran's is 35, 39, I believe. He gets that 39 in there. And in the case of Robert Kardashian, his daughters Kim and Khloe both have 33 names. Kim is married to Kanye West, which has a gematria of 33. Not uncommon for musicians. The word rock star itself equals 33 in gematria. The word hip in hip hop equals 33. The word rhyme equals 33. The one word that doesn't rhyme, orange, also sums to 33. Probably all part of the little riddle they coded into our language. So just check this out. I mean, if you ask how this could happen, maybe it's MK Ultra. We've all heard of MK Ultra, right? If you haven't heard of MK Ultra, just turn this video off and go learn about that. It's even more important. I'm just showing you all the numbers behind all this madness, how it's all done. So if right now you're doubting, you're going, no way, no way. Well, let's look at the more recent O.J. Simpson headline when we go, oh, what a buffoon. I want to show you what a hoax this is. It happened on September 13th, 2007. The numerology of that date is 22. And we live in an era where we cannot get a numerology of 33. The next date that will be possible will be September 29th, 2029. The last date was at the end of 1999. There's just no numeric possibility for 33 with that method. So, Galanter. This is his attorney for his most recent heist where he robbed his own merchandise, supposedly. The attorney's name sums to 33. He got a 33-year prison sentence, 13 years to the day he was acquitted of the murder trial of Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman. 13 years to the day. Again, October 3rd, 13 years. Scottish Rite Freemasonry has a highest degree of 33. York Rite Freemasonry has a highest degree of 13. And the word York itself has a gematria of 33. So you see how all this stuff ties together. They're like the secret mafia that are running our world. If you go back in time and look at what the O.J. Simpson trial did for CNN, you will find that it saved the network. CNN was going under. They didn't have enough to generate the news that they needed to the coverage they were, to pay for the coverage they were providing. It wasn't generating enough ratings. It wasn't interesting enough. Well, that all changed with the O.J. Simpson trial. Robert Turner III, better known as Ted Turner, established CNN on the 33rd parallel in Atlanta, Georgia. ATL is abbreviated 1 plus 20 plus 12 equals 33. The names Robert and Turner sum to 33 in gematria. His birthday is November 19th, 1938. If you sum 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 3 plus 8, it sums to 33. The date 1119 is a tribute to the year 1119, the year the Knights of Templar were established. Knights of Templar in gematria sums to 77. The 77th meridian runs through Washington, D.C., where the Washington Monument is located of 555 feet in the Pentagon of 5 sides with a 5-acre court and 5 floors. The total height of the Pentagon is 77 feet tall, and on 9/11 it was flight 77 that hit the Pentagon, supposedly. Think about it. Where these numbers come from is the King James Version of the Bible. The word Christ equals 77 in Gematria, and it is used exactly 555 times in the King James Version. The book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible, sums to 33 in Gematria. The Bible is 66 books in length. This is where all these numbers come from, people. Ron Goldman, 6647. For the number 47, these words equal 47. Judge, obey, authority, president, Caesar, Christian, Republican, Whig as in Whig Party, candy. On the flip side, the word fruit equals 74. Jesus equals 74. Cross equals 74. Lucifer equals 74. Occult equals 74. And the reason I did it in that order, people, with occult at the top, is because I'm telling you, that's what they've done. The occult have taken over this world. They are the Freemasons. They have tricked us into believing in their systems. They have made us our slaves. And they've done it in large part in recent decades through the television. Of course, they had us before, obviously, but they've taken it to a whole new level. And now all we trust is the television, and we hate truth seekers, and we hate truth tellers. And this is what has to change, and we can change it by sharing the truth, so we just got to be brave. Thanks, people. Encore. I just want to say how all this is possible is maybe through things like MKUltra. I don't know what our government's capable of. But the other way it's possible is just by bribing people. Perhaps Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson took a huge settlement and went off and are living a nice life together. And perhaps O.J. Simpson is living a nice life too, and we all think he's in prison. It could all just be a big hope.
All right, I had to come back from the other room because, like I said, I got to get dinner going here. But yeah, I do got to finish up dinner, and just about. Hold on, and I got to mute this video. I said in that video, like again, there's something very biblical about this. When I first started this research, the first book I tried to write was called "Revelation and the Birth of a Nation," and how they're using Revelation as a playbook. OJ just announced dead on 11/4. Orenthal James Simpson, 114. San Francisco 49ers, 114. Dead after his old team, the Niners, losing the Super Bowl. Dead at 76, while his two teams, the Bills and the Niners, are 7-6 against each other. But again, Ephesians 6, 5-9 are the verses about slaves, obey your masters. Slave and master both equal 76. Slave also equals 59. OJ dead 59 days from the Super Bowl at age 76. Announced dead as the masters are teeing off. And again, that 114 in Revelation, the only physical description of Jesus begins in Revelation 1:14. And it describes a man with darker skin and hair like wool. Ephesians, again, 6, 5-9, the verses about slaves obey your masters. All these years later, OJ dies in this way, perfectly synced with these biblical verses. Acts 7-6, about 400 years of slavery. So, again, we've put it together so much more. And back then, I talked mostly about Masons, and I'd occasionally talk about Jesuits. As I learned more, as time went on, I learned more and more about the Jesuits. I saw the Jesuits are behind modern Freemasonry. I learned that they gave us the calendar, how everything came to be in their 16th century. So that's the evolution of the work too. Just realizing things like Johnny Cochran's Jesuit educated, and if it doesn't fit, you must acquit on September 27th. Big Jesuit day in history. That's when they were recognized by Rome, the day leaving 95 days left in the year to counter the 95 Theses. So here, let me bring on the young guy one more time, and then I got to hop off here and finish dinner because Sweet Lay's going to be home in about 10 minutes. But all right, closing words, young guy. Oh, hold on, I got to switch the audio again. I got to switch it again because. All right, there we go. Now you're good.
I can host a show for like 10 minutes and just like play these old videos while you're cooking if you want. Kind of like an intro to like the radio show you want to do.
Channel. So you'll go over to your channel if you want to do that. If you want to do a live stream playing old videos, it'll give you a chance to get subs.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do that later. Sure.
Okay.
I just uploaded another video And it's the Ukraine and Russia one. So people can check that out, or if you want to play it right now, you can do that too. But yeah, that was kind of like my thought on that. And also, well, you got to go. I won't say anything else. But yeah, good show.
All right, man. Appreciate
All
the re-upload. So yeah,
Yeah,
some of the old videos are still out there in places if you look around.
Yeah, there's like 200 of them. I'm downloading them right now, and then I'm gonna put up a torrent file of it, so that way anybody can download it. I don't think it's gonna be very big compared to the other ones because there's not as many videos, and they're all in like 360p. But yeah, that's gonna come out like probably like tomorrow or something. I'll put out that link for people to download that whole channel. You know, all those older videos.
Yeah, yeah. And as we go off, this is a great comment in the chat. Barbara says, everything changed after Simpson trial. Broadcasters realized potential daytime audience views. The U.S. government jumped on C-SPAN, and Court TV expanded People's Court, many others like today. Yeah, don't forget Judge Judy's a big old 201 as well. But yeah, 1,000,000%. They've been it's like these things are experiments and also tests to see how they're going to take us in the future. And it's high ritual, and it's the same dates over and over. June 13th. I didn't know about 201 back when I did that video, but June 13th, another special day, the day leaving 201 days left in the year, the day the OJ crime scene was discovered.
And CNN came out of the Simpson trial too. You know, they had bad ratings until the Simpson trial, and then that was their like boom. You know.
Yeah. It changed the direction of CNN, so we're told. And let's not forget Turner equals 33 as in 10 Turner, and CNN's down there on the 33rd parallel in Atlanta. But yeah, I got to hop off, you guys. Thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share and supports the work. And shout out to the 4 donors.
Yeah.
Raised $10.
Yeah, and also Ebola happened. The whole outbreak happened 33 years after AIDS happened. You know, and
that's what I said in the one video. Yeah, and AIDS is 33. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's it. I'll get off.
All right. Shout out to Coco Mac, Brian Williams, Jimmy Maybe, Quentin, Nicholas. I see you guys all gave some cash apps over the last few days. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys want to support the work, again, it takes resources to get this out there the way it needs to be, especially in the age of censorship. Or thank you again, just anyone who shares the work. That's also the purpose, just to get the work out there way more. So we'll leave it there for now, and we'll be back sooner than later. Till next time.